6 p.m. right here on KLZ 560.
Hi, Bill McCormick here to thank you for making the Crawford Stand part of your day and to let you know that you can hear the stand on demand. Just go online to crawfordbroadcasting.com. Click on the stand button and look for the title of the commentary you want. You can then click on it to read, print, listen, or download as an MP3. And they're right there on the stand page at crawfordbroadcasting.com. The Crawford Stand is a public affairs presentation for God and country.
I'll never forget that moment.
Never forget that moment.
As long as I live.
As long as I live.
It started with a phone call.
I got the text when I was at work.
My first call-up ever as a member of the National Guard.
This was it, the real deal.
When we got to the armory, they briefed us on the wildfires, how they were getting dangerously close to homes.
It was amazing to be a part of this massive operation. Helicopters were going up with huge buckets to drop water on the fires.
Some of the guys in the unit were preparing for firefighting with local fire crews.
We went out in Humvees to help with the evacuations.
At that moment, I got my first taste from just how important the Guard is to my community.
See how the Guard can be an important part of your life at NationalGuard.com. Discover what it means to be a citizen soldier, to serve locally as well as globally. Look into the benefits, including career skills and money for college. Take a moment. Go to NationalGuard.com today.
Sponsored by the Colorado National Guard. Aired by the Colorado Broadcasters Association and this station.
KLZ AM 560, KLZ HD Denver. Listen live at KLZ560radio.com. KLZ 560, a Crawford Broadcasting God and Country station.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it. Our Lady of Blessed Acceleration, don't fail me now.
It's time for Drive Radio, presented by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Whether you need help diagnosing a problem,
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
Or just want to learn about all things automotive.
Hey, how exactly does a positive tractor on a Plymouth work? It just does.
Then you've come to the right place. So start your engines, buckle up, and get ready to ride. Drive Radio starts now on KLZ 560 The Source.
And good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday. It's 10:01 in the morning, and it's time for Drive Radio, just like it is every Saturday at this time, and has been for, gosh, guys, I've lost track of how many years it's been.
You were just talking about that.
Long time, 20 plus years. So Alan from Gates is actually with us. Alice, as he's known in his other world.
We'll explain that to you.
Alan is with us, and Steve Horvath from Geno's is with us. So, guys, thanks for taking time out of your Saturday. It's absolutely a gorgeous, gorgeous September day in Colorado. So when I asked Steve the other day, hey, we were going to do Ladies' Day today, by the way, and that's been postponed. We'll still do that at some point in the near future, so don't worry. We're going to get the ladies from Community Auto on with us, and we'll have Ladies' Day before long, so don't worry. But I contacted Steve, and I thought, man, I hope he can do it because I bet you I'm infringing on his golf game.
No, I've got it scheduled for Sunday.
Oh, there you go. Awesome.
So I won't be able to listen to repeat tomorrow. So.
Oh, that's great. Well, I appreciate you guys coming in. And also, especially, both Steve and Alan, both you guys are great supporters of even our daily show. And I appreciate that very, very much. So you guys are both very big KLZ supporters. I thank you for that. So, all right, let's get things fired off. We've got a lot in store for you today. Alan's here from Gates. Again, we're going to talk today about belts, hoses. Do you properly know how to check them? Because it's changed. Okay? Late model vehicles, you can no longer just look at a belt or a hose and know whether it's time to replace it or not. We'll talk about some of that as we go through the show today for some of you DIYers, or even some of you that are just, I got a call last, this will crack you up, Alan. So I get a call last, I believe it was, let me think, it was a long weekend, Monday. So it was Labor Day. Mm-hmm. I get a call, I'm out doing some stuff, and I've got the phone going and different things going and so on. And my wife comes out and hands me the phone, and it's our oldest daughter down in Arkansas. And a friend of theirs had just bought a new used car, and the serpentine belt went bad. And it left them on the side of the road.
Huh, that's never happened before.
Yeah, that's never happened. And so they're asking, okay, so somehow or another, in all of this conversation, somebody told them, this just shows you how things work. Somebody told them because the serpentine belt went bad, they needed to add power steering fluid.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I was trying to figure out in my mind how all of that correlated to one another, because I'm like, did it leak? Did it break the hose? Did you guys, because sometimes the belt comes off and it damages other things
Flaps
and so
around,
on.
sure.
So I asked all those questions, like, no, the belt just went bad. I'm like, so why do you need to put fluid in? Well, somebody told us because the steering wasn't working, we needed fluid. I said, no, the steering wasn't working because the belt broke. Put the belt back on and your steering will be fine.
You know, it's interesting. My daughter's belt came off her car on Monday.
Really?
It must be something cosmic in the air.
Well,
or we're not checking the belts.
or well,
there
and
we go.
My point was somebody could have easily looked at the belt on this used car
When they're changing the oil.
and they could have said, hey, this thing's fine. But if they're not checking it properly, they'd never know what's coming up
So
next.
we'll talk about our new campaign.
Yeah, because it is a lot different than it used to be. All right, so to get things started off, question of the day. And somebody walked in here this past week to KLZ, to the studio, and said, John, I got a question for you on a Saturday. I think it was Scott Watley. He said, here's your next question. I'm like, okay, what is it? Fire it at me. And sometimes I get some really goofy questions. It's like, oh, I can't use that one. This one we're using. What's the strangest thing you've seen in the car next to you? Okay, now be clean.
Yeah, keep it
Okay,
clean.
keep it clean. It just so happened that this was on Thursday. Scott Watley hands me that note, and I said, okay, that'll work perfect. So what's the strangest thing you've seen in the car next to you? By the way, lines are open, 303-477-5600. I had just driven to the studio earlier that day, and behind me, on my way here, was a guy smoking a bong. Yeah, for those of you that don't know what that is, it's a little glass device that you put marijuana in, and this guy was just puffing away on that going down Parker Road. No big deal.
No, that's no big deal.
That's actually fairly common these days.
Yeah.
It's not the first time I've
I
seen
look
it.
behind me, I'm thinking, wow, okay, well, that's what happens in Colorado when you legalize it. Maybe even when you don't legalize it, but he didn't think, and this was not, by the way, this was not a teenager doing this. This guy probably had a good, just from looking in the rearview mirror, could have been the same age as me, but looked 10 years older.
Oh, I know why he was doing it. Glaucoma. Yeah.
So he could see better.
So he could see better.
Got it. Okay, so the question is, what's the strangest thing you've seen in the car next to you? Again, Drive Radio, we talk about driving, all those different things. What's the strangest thing you've seen in the car next to you? So, gentlemen, we'll start with you.
Let's see. It's getting close to Halloween, so I'll skip all those things. I'm just going to say, keep it clean. Lady putting makeup on.
Okay.
I know there's probably worse than that, but I'll forget what I actually saw.
I've seen a lot of things over the years.
Lady putting makeup
Lady
on.
putting, I'll stick to that. Well, we need to do like the old Family Feud, where we have like the top ranked answers here. But
Larry can.
Ding, 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 ding. All right, Alan, that gave you no. Anyway,
I think the strangest thing I've ever seen
survey says
is the dog on the steering wheel. It's such a funny thing. They're dogs leaning on the wheel. And
oh wow!
Sorry, I'm describing it as
the dog's not smoking a bong.
Yeah.
Well, and our one of our sponsors, Lone Tree Veterinary Medical Center, will appreciate me saying this. That's the worst place the dog could ever be.
Oh yeah,
because an airbag will kill it.
Oh yeah,
literally. If the dog's able, first of all, if it's small enough where it's riding on your lap in the car anyways, if the airbag deploys, the dog's dead.
Yeah.
Okay, so those of you that do that and you're listening, or you've got family members or friends that do that, please. And if you don't believe me, call Nancy or her husband, either one of them, call them at Lone Tree Veterinary Medical Center and ask them if I'm correct, because they'll tell you, you know what, your dog needs to be secured properly. Otherwise, John's exactly right. They're going to die. Because it's an explosion when an airbag goes off. We all see these things on TV and even on YouTube, and it looks like the airbag's kind of this fluffy, pillowy thing that kind of goes off and encompasses you, and it's nice and friendly, and not so much.
That's super slow.
Yeah, tried deploying one sitting on top of it on a board. There's a video of that, and it sends a 200-pound man into the air. So.
Okay, time out. A guy's on a board on top of an airbag.
A tire. Yeah, there's a tire, and then deploy an airbag. There's a YouTube video.
How far up in the air does he go?
Boy, I got an AC clinic list that I do, and I show some of these silly automotive videos. I'll have to find it.
Okay.
He's good 15 foot in the air.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so if your Chihuahua or your Poodle or your Schnauzer is on your lap, your lap dog is on your lap and the airbag goes off, folks, it's dead.
Yeah.
You're going to kill the dog. And again, so if you don't believe me, call one of our sponsors, Nancy Moyle, give them a call. She will answer that for you. And let me give you the phone number real quick. It's 303-708-8050 if you don't believe me.
Well, the other thing too is with the dog's bones will go into you. So you both might end up dead.
You just don't want to go there.
Yeah.
Trust me, you just don't want to go there.
That's a lot of energy, a lot of force.
Yeah, it's an explosion. And again, I don't think people really realize that airbags can burn your hands, can burn your arms. My mom was in an accident a few years back and had her hands up on the wheel, and it literally burned all of her forearms and her hands and everything, because when that explosion goes off, that's the remnants of what's there. And this was an older car, airbag technology, not as good as it is today. Every year they continue to advance that. It gets better and better. In fact, we have airbags today that explode differently depending upon the weight of the person in the seat itself. The problem is you're still heavier than the dog.
Sure.
So no matter what, it's going to explode into the dog.
Unless there's a Great Dane, but then you can't see.
It might be a little different. Now, I've seen some Great Danes in the front seat.
Oh yeah, no, that's ones I was thinking. There's some big dogs.
There's some big dogs that run around the front seat of the car. So, question is, what's the strangest thing you've ever seen in the car next to you? And again, I've seen a lot of weird things. People changing clothes, doing things they probably shouldn't be. One of the things, and this isn't really strange anymore, but one of the things that still just drives me nuts is the texting and driving.
Yeah.
Like, people, put the stupid phone down.
Especially riding bikes. For me, I had a close encounter coming back from St. Louis 2 weeks ago. So texting and driving.
Not a good combination.
No, not at all.
And the dumb thing about that is most late model phones now have the ability to speak to it in text, and the speech recognition is really, really good. So if you're really in that big of an emergency, you can just hold it like you're talking on the phone and send somebody a message. It's not that difficult.
Even just being on the phone, I think it needs to.
That's that's distracting too.
It needs, and I know in California they have laws.
A lot of states do where you have to either have to have speakerphone or you can't talk at all.
Yeah, and how many times have we seen people driving one-handed all over, and it's scary.
Besides
every day.
Yeah, every day.
Coming down here, I see that every day.
Besides the radio waves going into your brain, so the hands-free is much better.
Yep.
The radio waves going. Is that my problem? Too many radio waves over the years in my brain?
Well, we got a lot of Wi-Fi around here, but I'm just saying with that device right next to your head, but texting and driving.
Maybe it's making your head better though. There's a positive in that. Maybe it's wiring everything.
Well, I got some people I'd like to have them do it. So that's another show though.
That's very true. All right. Lines open 303-477-5600. Larry's got some guys he's talking to right now, but lines are open. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. What is the strangest thing you've ever seen in the car or truck or van or motorcycle or whatever happens to be next to you? So Paul and Dorsey actually sent me this week, and I thought this would be an interesting topic also for today as we head out of the Labor Day weekend. We're kind of heading into the fall. People are going to be doing the last minute camping. There's still hunting going on and fishing and so on. So the title of this article is the 10 best towing vehicles that aren't trucks. You typically think of towing a trailer with a truck. Now, I haven't even read all these. I did that on purpose because I didn't want to, how do I want to say this? I didn't want to mess up my judgment ahead of time on this. I didn't want to do any studying or anything else. I thought we'll just take each car at a time. I'm going to be hard pressed to believe there's anything in this list that you really could tow with. In today's world.
Of course, just coming back from Sturgis, this is another story, but motorcycles are towing trailers and things, but I guess it depends on the size of the trailer or the camper.
Okay, I'll buy that. Okay. I'll give you that.
Right.
It does depend on the size of the trailer. I get that. All right, so let's do at least one of these. So hang on, we got to start here. Now, they're cheating. See, I told you I didn't go through the list.
That's okay.
Because some of these aren't trucks, but they're big SUVs. So 2015 Chevy Traverse. Yeah, that vehicle's big enough where you could tow a trailer. You're not going to tow a huge trailer. Here's what's interesting though. Chevrolet rates that to tow 5,200 pounds. I wouldn't in my lifetime put 5,200 pounds behind a Chevy Traverse.
You'd be taking that to Larry's for a transmission in about 2 years.
Thank you. I would never go that. I would never do that. So we'll continue to go through the list. We've got some calls coming in. We're going to take a quick break here in just a moment. But before that, Mark, you're up first on Drive Radio. What's going on, sir?
Hey, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Well, thank you, Mark. Appreciate that.
So, 2011 Jeep Grand Cherokee. over the years, had a few electrical glitches with, the driver's locks not opening using the key fob and whatnot. Kind of put up with it over the years. About 2 weeks ago, driving down the road 50 miles an hour, all my instrument panel lights light up, the gauges go dead, then they come back on, and the lights go out. Seatbelt chimes, everything, all the little warning lights. And they flash, It did it like twice 2 weeks ago, no problem. Well, last night we went into town, and it must have done it about 20 times both ways where we were going down and coming back.
Okay.
And never seemed to lose power, as far as the engine goes.
As far as the way it drove and all that?
Yeah. Had steering, had brakes. It's just really crazy annoying.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
Got on the internet, looked at, it seems like it's a problem. It's not an uncommon problem, but everybody has their own idea what it might be.
It is. I was just going to say, it's not, in fact, even on this show, it's not an uncommon problem. And the problem is, if you go out and search this thing on the internet, you're going to see, to your point, you're going to find 10 different solutions as to what it is. The problem is, all 10 of those could be correct depending upon the vehicle they were working on at the time.
Right.
So it's one of those things where somebody's going to have to just get in there and really determine what's going on. What's interesting is you've had issues in the past. I'm not saying they're related, although they could be. As you know, that vehicle has several modules in it that run some of the different components that you're actually referring to, and you could have something as simple as, a feed going to one of the modules that's just not right. It could not be picking up something correctly, so it's not sending the right signal out. It could be ignition switch related. It could be, I can go down the list.
Right. Is there any chance that what happened last night would have set a code?
I doubt it.
Okay.
I really doubt it. And Steve's saying the same thing. I doubt it.
You always have to start at the beginning, though. You have to always start at the cables, at the battery cable. Start at the beginning there and look. And I would cover yourself that way.
Yeah, I
want
to throw in a good word for Larry and his crew too, because he's the only one that's ever turned a wrench on my last 3 cars that I've had. And he told me that I should probably take it to Dorsey's.
Okay.
And
well, it's a very, you're up against a very unique problem that somebody's going to have to really methodically go through the system to figure out exactly what's going on. To your point, because there's no code, there's really, back to Steve's point also, there's the only starting point is battery out. So you start at the battery, start with cables, then you check all the modules. He will scan the computer to make sure there's nothing in there and the modules are reacting properly and so on. And then just go through each system step by step.
I agree.
Yeah. Okay. So here's another question, if I could, on the when I open the driver's door, and like I said, I've had issues over the time where the locks don't work on the driver's side, or when it gets really hot, especially. Okay. Well, that situation kind of just went away, and that doesn't happen anymore. But now I have an issue with the back passenger door. It won't unlock, and it won't lock. It won't unlock using the remote or using the button on the inside of the vehicle. It won't lock either. You have to manually push down the little button on the door. And then, when you unlock all the rest of the cars, that door is still locked.
Got it.
If you lock all the rest of the doors and leave that one
one's unlocked,
it's still unlocked.
So you're manually doing that door every time.
Right. And so when I opened the driver's door, I was kind of squeezing the little rubber boot that goes from the wiring that goes into the body. And when I do it with the ignition on and the motor running, I'm hearing this clicking sound coming from the driver's control.
Okay.
In the armrest.
It's fairly common for those wires to be a little bit cracked in there, and it's a very.
They think about it. They bend every time you open and close the door.
Right.
There's not a great design by any manufacturer. They've not figured out how to do that.
And how many miles are on the car?
About 79,000.
So that's all city miles, I'm assuming.
Highway, pretty much.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a surprise, because typically the highway miles are easier. You're not typically opening and closing the door as much on a highway, vehicle than you would be something driven around town.
Yeah. No, we live up in the mountains, so we're mostly highway.
Got it.
Yeah. So could that be a cause of that back door not working?
Yes.
Because everything runs through that driver's control.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah.
That is correct. So yes, it could very well be. So, and I would venture to guess you've got two problems, not one.
Right.
The instrument cluster is going to be a totally separate issue. My guess is, now I don't know for sure, but my guess would, if I had to bet on it, I would bet there are two problems.
Right. That ground wire coming from the driver's side door probably wouldn't be causing the light.
I would not think so. No.
Right.
No.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
No, Mark, appreciate it very much. Thanks for the call. I appreciate you listening all these years and calling in for the first time. Really, we appreciate that. That's why we're here. So lines are open. Give us a call, 303-477-5600. What's the strangest thing you've ever seen in the vehicle next to you? We'll be right back. Don't go away. John Rush, Steve Horvath, and Alan Stefan will be back on Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Isn't it ironic that in order to remove engine grease, you need plenty of elbow grease? Well, Napa has you, your engine and your elbows covered. Get Gunk Original Engine Degreaser for $2.99 and get a mail-in rebate good for the entire sale price. That makes it all practically free. The savings continue with the 5-quart Napa Conventional Oil Change Combo with the Napa Silver Oil Filter for $17.99 every day. Conquer the job and your questions with Napa Know-How.
Napa Know-How!
Have you ever been ripped off by an auto shop? Chances are you have at least felt like you were, and as a technician myself, I get it. So how do you know who to trust? The answer is to always choose a Colorado Select Auto Care Center. Colorado Select is a hand-picked group of independent shops who all adhere to the highest standards of customer service. They use ASE-certified master technicians who all offer at least a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on repairs, far exceeding most dealerships. Find a shop nearest you at coloradoselect.com. In Parker, you need the only Colorado Select Auto Care Center in Douglas County. Extreme Auto Repair on South Dransfeld. Right now, save 20% off any repair if you mention KLZ. Call 720-573-6445.
At Arvada West Auto and Truck, we won't try to impress you with a waiting room with a big screen TV and lattes. What we will do is give you good service and expert repair. We pride ourselves in being interested in you and your vehicle. We stand behind our work with the power of Napa Auto Care and a 3-year or 36,000-mile warranty. And if needed, we do have a customer waiting area. Come see us at Arvada West Auto for all your repair needs. We are located at 11752 West 64th Avenue in West Arvada, or call 303-422-1065 for an appointment.
Here are the 3 C's of high performance in less than 60 seconds. Your engine piston rings must have good compression, which makes good combustion, which saves cash at the pump. But you lose compression when piston rings clog with carbon. Today's engines use low tension rings, which clog much easier, which lowers compression, combustion, and the amount of cash in your pocket with higher fuel cost and expensive repairs. This problem can be fixed as fast as your next oil change. The best service shops use a BG product that cleans the engine and accomplishes the 3 C's in just 15 minutes. It has 3 letters, EPR, as in Engine Performance Restoration, that cleans piston rings and restores compression, which increases and saves you. Find a shop with BG products at bgfindashop.com. That's bgfindashop.com. So, at your next oil change, remember the 3 C's. You will find more of this in your engine and this in your pocket when you clean your engine with BG.
If you ever want to see all the oxygen leave the room, tell somebody their transmission is bad. Transmissions are the repair most drivers fear most because they are the most misunderstood. Nobody understands transmissions better than Larry's Automotive and Transmission. They are the driveline pros, and they can take the fear and mystery out of transmission repair. Transmissions don't just go bad overnight. There are warning signs. Difficulty shifting or hesitation, for instance. Ignore those signs and you'll be looking at a big, scary estimate.
30 seconds, guys.
Something is wrong, and your repairs will most likely be minor. The only way to know for sure is to call Larry's Automotive and Transmission right away.
20 seconds.
2108. 303-427-2108. They are ATRA certified, ASE Master certified, and A+ with the BBB. Larry's Automotive and Transmission, the driveline pros. Recommended by John Rush.
John Rush, Steve Horvath, and Alan Stefan here on Drive Radio, KLZ 560. And we've got lines open. We'd love to hear from you. 303-477-5600. Anything you want to talk about, we are here for you. It doesn't matter what it is. We'll talk about it. We are going to get into today talking about belts and hoses, how to properly diagnose those. And then one of the things Steve had an idea on is that term diagnostic overused or improperly used, maybe is the better way to say that.
Yeah, I agree.
Because we use it for a lot of things. Even on the show here, we use it sometimes for things that it just gets thrown around, and it maybe isn't always the best terminology.
Yes, and it fits so many different things, even doctors and all. And I think we overuse it
use it in the wrong.
Too generalized.
It's exactly. It's too generalized. That's the best way to say it. Okay, so
if that's a word.
No, it is. That's exactly right. Before we get back to the phones, again, 303
make words up here. That's
303-477-5600. So the first vehicle, and we talked about this going into our last caller, Chevy Traverse. That's number one on this list. Doesn't mean it's number one vehicle that you would actually go out and buy to tow with outside of a truck, but it has the ability, it says, to tow 5,200 pounds. That's with the optional 288 horsepower, 3.6 liter V6. I wouldn't do that with anything less than that, and I would still struggle to tow 5,200 pounds with.
Because what does that vehicle weigh?
Probably 4,000 or 4,500. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. It's probably 4,500.
Stopping it once you got it going would be a problem.
Oh yeah. What are you going to do to the brakes?
Oh, jeez.
The next one, 2015 Audi Q5. Really? It's rated at 4,400 pounds with the 3-liter V6 engine, 272 horsepower, 290 foot-pounds of torque. The Europeans are more accustomed to towing vehicles without the need for a truck. It only makes sense that Audi would make sure its volume people mover was up to the challenge. But again, I think you have to look at what's the trailer they're towing in Europe versus what we have here. I can just see some guy putting a 3-horse trailer behind his Audi Q5.
Yeah.
Not.
And then trying to hit the mountains.
Yeah, and that's the other thing people forget. We have a lot different conditions here, including elevation changes. I mean, you go all the way up one of our passes, 12,000 feet. You're losing a lot of horsepower at 12,000 feet. No offense, but Europe doesn't have that. They've got hills, but they don't have the Rocky Mountains. Sorry, all you Europeans, but you don't.
Their mountains are different.
They have the Alps, I guess, don't they?
But they kind of go in between them all. Yeah. They don't go over them as much.
Yeah, ours, you drive over the top of them.
Yeah.
All right.
Through them, over them, around them.
Let's go to Jerry. He's next. Jerry, welcome. How's it going today?
Good. I had called a few weeks ago about some valve noise on my 98 Montero Sport, and subsequent to that, I tried some BG EPR.
Okay.
And that helped. That quieted it down, but
Good deal.
but it's still coming back, and what's odd about it is it's rhythmic. It goes in 15-second cycles that it gets louder and louder and louder and then drops off to nothing and then starts over again. And I found something online that indicated that Mitsubishi had sent out not really a fix, but that they recommend basically simulating the same thing deliberately, giving it increasing throttle to rev it up to 3,000 RPM slowly over a duration of 15 seconds, and do that however many times you need. And oddly enough, I tried that, and it did seem to help, but again, it just keeps coming back. It's not a permanent fix. So I guess my question is, am I really hurting anything? You know, it does. My gas mileage is fine. The performance is fine. It's just, the noise is slightly annoying. So should I worry about it?
Is it on cold startup too?
It's worse when it's cold.
More when it's cold. And it may take a few oil changes too of the MOA and the different additives to help it. But I don't believe you're going to hurt that much. I mean, you're going to hurt the tip of the valve and those kind of things. It's not a great thing. And what kind of filter are you using, by the way, too? What kind of oil filter?
I think I got a Fram on there.
The other thing I'd like to see is a better filter.
Agree.
Do a Napa Gold, something that will hold. They have a little valve that's in the filters that kind of keeps that pressure up there, especially cold. That might help it too. I wouldn't mind seeing that. I'm not saying it's going to fix for sure, but those are all things I would do first.
So by having excessive lash between the little adjuster and the tip of the valve stem, it could be hammering that stem slightly?
Well, it creates like a little mushroomy kind of thing, I guess the way I'd explain it. And over time, it'll wear and it'll get farther and farther apart, and then you'll have to do something eventually.
What kind of oil?
Yeah, and we've talked about that before, Jerry. You've done good oil changes on this, the life of it, haven't you?
Well, as long as I've had it.
As long as you've had it, yeah. The problem is you don't know what was done prior to that.
Sure.
I guess I just still can't quite picture what's causing the rhythmic factor there. Why it goes in 15-second increases. That's just a mystery to me.
Some of that could just be the harmonics of the engine itself. Every engine generates harmonics inside of the engine itself, and it could be just the way that the engine itself is generating some of that. And I've seen things. I've seen noises do really, really strange things over the years. It could be that you've got 4 or 5 lifters that are at the point that Steve's talking about, and they kind of get into it. Hate to use this terminology, but they get to sing into each other. They get to kind of the rhythmic. And keep in mind, everything's metal inside the engine, so when one thing starts to vibrate, it can actually go over and cause something else to vibrate, and then it just becomes this succession, and all that could be going on in the valve train at the same time.
Okay.
So think of it that way. I mean, there's no vibration separation in the engine from one cylinder to the next. Every one of them. I mean, they're not necessarily connected, but the engine block, the head, the rockers, in yours it's a shaft-driven rocker arm system. I mean, all of that, everything's interconnected if you really want to think about it that way. So when one thing starts to vibrate, it will run down and vibrate through everything else.
Okay.
Especially on one side of the engine.
But as to using a higher quality filter,
yes, use a higher quality. And are you running full synthetic? I don't remember.
No.
I run full synthetic, use Napa's Platinum filter, see what that does.
But the part about a pressure relief...
I'm not worried about the pressure. I'm worried about getting the valve lifters themselves cleaned out where they pump up properly.
Okay. But was it Steve that just mentioned the pressure valve in the filter?
Yeah, it kind of keeps the
backflow valve.
Yeah, backflow.
The backflow valve is stronger, is what he's saying. So it actually keeps the pressure of the motor in the motor when it's shut off.
Yeah, and keeps it up higher.
Right, and better filtration.
So that first 15 seconds, it's not all the way in the bottom of the pan as much. It's more up at higher parts of the engine. So then that first few seconds you're running, it's got that oil pressure up there, and it's getting that valve to quiet down. Or lifter, I'm sorry.
Well, great. Well, thank you, gentlemen.
You're very welcome, Jerry. Try synthetic oil in that Platinum filter. Let us know how it works.
Thank you.
You bet. Take care. We appreciate the phone call. Mike in Highlands Ranch, you are up next. What's going on, sir?
Hey, I was calling in to tell you about the strangest thing I ever saw.
Let's hear it.
Next to me. Well, I was driving along, and there was a car in front of me, and I noticed that for a mile or two, they were doing signaling properly. They were staying in the lane. And then I got up beside the car, and they had actually had both hands on the wheel. They weren't drinking coffee, texting, talking on the phone, or eating a hamburger, or chatting with the person next to them. It was absolutely the strangest thing I'd ever seen.
Okay. What was it?
He was
just being normal, or what?
They were normal driver. That's what he's saying.
Oh, I see what you're saying. They were not. He wasn't doing anything he wasn't supposed to. Is what you're trying to say?
Yeah, it was the strangest thing
I've
seen.
Okay, I'll buy that one.
That's a good one. That's a
good
one.
Yeah, you don't see that very often.
No, you don't. Anyway, I thought I'd share that.
That might have been.
That's actually.
That might have been Larry on the way to the studio.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I hate to admit that we live in a day and age where somebody driving like they're supposed to is actually the strangest thing of the day.
That's my point.
That's pretty bad, actually. That's pretty bad. Mike, good one. You got me on that one. That's good. Paul, you're next. What's going on, sir?
Hi, I just you're talking about the craziest things you see on the road.
Yes.
I was in years ago. We were in Arizona on the interstate. You come up on a truck, and there's a calf had been tied, his hind leg tied in the back of the truck, but he tried to jump out, so he was hanging out, swinging from the tailgate, and his head, hitting the ground.
Oh, no.
Pretty bad, pretty nasty. We pulled up and let him know. And you're talking about, I see all kinds of people on the phone. You're talking about on the phone.
Right.
The different class of people. It used to be slow drivers, people not paying attention.
Right.
We still have those. But now we have a new class that kind of pulls to the right in their lane, and they just got a phone call.
Yep.
Or a text. And,
yep. Because the natural tendency is to go to your strongest. So if you're right-handed, the tendency is to go to the right. If you're left-handed, it's to go to the left. And typically, we live in an age where most of the people are right-handed.
So we kind of head to the right. Well, and that's probably a little safer if you're not paying attention. Stay close to the shoulder.
Yeah, in fact, they tell you that. They tell you, and this is something my dad always taught me. If you're going down an old 2-lane road or any 2-lane road for that matter, and somebody starts to come at you in your lane head on, typically speaking, you want to steer left because the other person is going to steer left to try to go across the road to get out of your way. It's the opposite of what most people think.
That'd be hard to do.
It's because it would be hard to do.
Yeah, because your normal mental shift is to go the other direction.
Yeah, but it makes sense because then they may want to hit you. You're going to end up hitting.
Right.
So, yeah, that'd be tough to make yourself do that.
Yep.
Anyway, you got a great show. I like listening to you.
Thank you very much, Paul. I appreciate it. Thanks so much for the phone call. Lines open 303-477-5600. Take a quick break. We'll be right back. More Drive Radio coming up next right here on KLZ 560.
We breathe dirty air every day, and believe it or not, the air you breathe inside your vehicle can be even more polluted than the air outside. Thankfully, many of the vehicles sold today are equipped with a cabin air filter to help keep the air inside your car clean. If you are driving a car with a dirty or clogged cabin air filter, not only are you breathing dirty air, but it also puts a strain on your car's HVAC system, decreasing its performance and longevity. K&N, the inventor of washable automotive air filters, has applied its decades of high-flow, washable air filter design to cabin air filters for cars and trucks. These robust filters clean and freshen the air coming into your car's interior and are electrostatically charged to hold dust and dirt. They feature a pleated filter media that helps capture most mold, mildew, fungus, spores, bacteria, germs, pollen, and other allergens, while still allowing a high volume of airflow. They are strengthened by a custom design frame for a great fit and years of use. Best of all, K&N cabin air filters are washable and clean up easy with the K&N Refresher Cabin Air Filter Cleaning Kit. They typically only need cleaning every 12 to 15,000 miles or once a year, but you can wash them more often if you'd like, and K&N backs them up with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. They come with easy-to-follow installation instructions so you can easily replace your old filter, usually in 5 to 10 minutes. Keep the air inside your car clean and fresh without continually burying and throwing away disposable filters. Find the K&N washable cabin air filter for your car or truck at knfilters.com. That's knfilters.com.
You work hard for your customers, and so do your vehicles. At Tilden Total Car Care, we understand how important your vehicles are to your business. At Tilden Total Car Care, we specialize in fleet maintenance. We'll keep your vehicles running their best because we know that if your vehicles aren't running, your business isn't running. Our fleet maintenance service will ensure that your vehicles are maintained according to the manufacturer's specifications, with the proper maintenance performed at the proper time. The proper service intervals ensure that your maintenance costs are kept low, your vehicles kept running right, and your customers kept happy. Let us show you how to minimize downtime and maintenance costs while extending the life, value, and productivity of your vehicles. Call Tilden at 303-797-7977, 303-797-7977, and let us show you how fleet maintenance is done. Tilden Total Car Care, your fleet maintenance partner, helping as many people as we can, as fast as we can.
I'm Isaac Bouchard from Bespoke Autos. As a sponsor, I'm so excited to help Drive Radio because John and his team, along with the Colorado Select Service Centers, strive so hard to bring the best possible experience to the challenging world of auto care. At my company, Bespoke Autos, we do the same when it comes to buying and leasing cars, trucks, and SUVs, whether new or used. Bespoke means custom tailored, and that's what we do. Custom tailor to your vehicle needs. Find out more at denverautobrokers.org. That's denverautobrokers.org.
At Napa, we're always trying to make the great parts we sell even better. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters to our revolutionary new Adaptive One brakes. And every Napa part is covered by a warranty good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but we've spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. Go to NapaOnline.com for a location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
Let me tell you a little bit about Lone Tree Veterinarian Medical Center. Phone number is 303-708-8050. You can find them at LoneTreeVet.com. The owners, Nancy and Bill Moyle, Dr. Bill, I should say, they've been longtime listeners and supporters of Drive Radio. They appreciate so much all the information that we've given out over the years. And what they want to do is basically support Drive Radio to keep that going. So you know what? The best thing we can do is just give back to Lone Tree Veterinarian Medical Center. So go see them now. If you've got a pet, a cat, a dog, any type of pet they can take care of, the phone number is 303-708-8050. They're certified by the American Animal Hospital Association, and they recently earned
20 seconds.
Gold Star rating with the Better Business Bureau. They're located at 8681 East Lincoln Avenue in Lone Tree. It's 1 block west of Yosemite on Lincoln Avenue. Go visit them today at LoneTreeVet.com. And when you call them, make sure you tell them that John Rush from Drive Radio sent you. John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560, 1039 on a nice, beautiful Saturday morning. Steve Horvath from Gino's Auto Service is with me this morning, and they are located over in Littleton, Bowles, and Platte Canyon. Anything you need for your vehicle, Steve will take care of it. And it's a nice, brand new, shiny facility to walk you through.
I might go over there someday and have lunch.
There you go.
And actually, right now, well, I'm not going to say that because you got to listen during the week. If you want a really good special at Gino's, listen during the week, and I'll tell you all about it. How's that sound?
That's a good tease. Yeah,
there we go. So listen on Monday, and I'll tell you all about what Steve's offering if you come into his shop. So let's do this. Let's go to Patrick, who is up next. Patrick, welcome to Drive Radio.
Hey, how you doing, guys? I love your show. Listen every weekend.
Thank you, sir.
I have a friend. She's with me right now. She has a nearly new 2014 WRX.
Okay.
It's only got about 7,000 miles on it, and the other day she hit a traffic cone, and it put a big old dent in the fender and tore up the ground defects. And we want to get it repaired, but I've had bad experiences with dealership body shops, and I knew you guys would know who's the best people in town to go to get that fixed, so it's just like new.
The guys I use, and I'm trying to get them to be a sponsor here, so when you go in there, please tell them that they need to join partnerships with us because I send them stuff, I'm not joking, every single week. Now, they're going to be a little bit of a distance from you, but I know their work because they do my stuff. They do all my fleet work. I've sent numerous people there, and I've never had a complaint yet coming out of anybody. It's SVE. They're up in Broomfield. You can look them up. It's SVE Auto Body in Broomfield. That's who does all of my stuff.
That's Sierra Victor Echo, SVE?
You got it.
Okay, awesome.
And they do great work. Tell them you know me. Tell them you listen to the radio. Drive Radio. You'd love to see them love to get them on as a sponsor, so I can bring them on and actually talk about some of the things they do. Just as an example, my sister's got a year-old little Juke, Nissan Juke, that we had a little accident inside of our own parking lot. So it wasn't even an insurance deal. It was all taken care of internally by us as a family, if you would. Not going to say who did what, but we just had to listen. We had some accidents, and it was a pretty large one. That you'd look at and think, are they ever going to get this car fixed properly? Had some door damage, fender damage, way more than your WRX. Let me tell you what, you wouldn't know that car ever had a problem looking at it today.
Because see, up to this point, John was using duct tape, and I've seen his vehicles. They look good now. Yeah, they do a good job.
No, this thing, honestly, you would not know it had ever been any damage. I mean, it's that good.
Well, that's what we're looking for. I really appreciate it, guys.
You're very welcome. Tell them I sent you up there, and you'll have to wait to get in because right now they're behind.
I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll do it.
All right. Appreciate it, Patrick. And I need to get those guys. Steve and I are going to have to run up, especially you on the ASA side. We're going to have to run up there and
the glass.
Stretch some. Yeah. And I'm working on that one too, but we're going to have to go up and stretch some arms a little bit here at some point. Twist some arms, I should say.
ASA needs members.
Yeah. So together we'll run up there and see what we can get put together. So
strong arm them, huh?
One line open, 303-477-5600. Buck, you're next. What's going on, sir?
Good morning. Couple things. You and I have talked in the past. I bought a K&N air intake for an 09 Ford.
Yeah.
5.4.
Yes.
Was noisy. I had catalytic converter problems. Ford replaced them, and I finally got the intake system back on the other day, and it's still a bit noisy, but it's very tolerable. So
Great.
If there's anybody that's really having noise problems, they might check their catalytic converters.
Got it. Good deal. Good deal. Did they warranty those for you, Buck?
Yeah, they're warranted to 120,000, and I had 114.
Awesome. Good for you. Good deal.
The other thing is, I wanted to tell you about maybe one of the weirdest things I saw was a deputy sheriff, and they have computers in their cars.
Yes.
Working on a computer and texting and driving at the same time.
All three.
Did he give himself a ticket?
Well, I just drove on by.
I have seen, Buck, I can vouch for what you're saying. I have seen some of that myself at times. I think, guys, you're supposed to be setting the example. And I know you at times you're running plates and doing other things, but man, you're not setting. And here's the other odd thing: I've seen some of them not driving very well while they're doing it. So it's one of those things where it's like, wait a minute, time out. What's this guy doing up here? Then you get up next to him, it's like, oh, Mr. Policeman, you probably ought not be doing that.
But I just drove on by and
give a little friendly wave, and off you go.
Well, they were so busy looking at
they
the
wouldn't
other
even known.
Yeah.
That if I'd have waved, they wouldn't even have known it.
Yeah, that's not good, Buck. Well, hey, appreciate the feedback on your K&N and getting your cats fixed. That's excellent. Awesome.
Yeah, and I'll be looking forward to you telling me how long hoses are going to last.
Okay, we're going to get to that. I'm going to do that in the 11 o'clock hour so our Sunday folks can hear that. We'll get into that then. Don't worry.
Okay.
All right,
thank
Buck.
you.
Appreciate it very much. Let's go to Bill, who's next. We have some lines open, 303-477-5600. Bill, what's going on, sir?
Well, we all know what the strangest or whatever we've seen, but I won't say it. This is a family show.
Okay.
Hey, just a little thing on the mag chloride stuff. Like my son's truck it's a 2011 Silverado, that molding they put along the side.
Yes.
That they don't put on anymore.
Right.
Well, you couldn't get it off for nothing. It was a silver truck with this black gook on it.
Yeah.
So I started thinking, Dr. Brahma's, you know what that is, right?
Say that again?
Dr. Brahma's, the Castle soap.
I never heard of it.
The old hippie soap. The peppermint smell and stuff.
No,
it was a powder.
Well, it's a Castle soap.
What's it? Okay.
I think it was a powder, wasn't it?
No, it's a liquid.
That's a liquid. Oh.
Okay. No, I have no idea.
Anyway, but it's been around forever. And on the label, it's got a million things you could use it for.
Got it.
So I said, let me try it. So I put some in some water, and it cut that stuff in a heartbeat.
Really?
Yep, took it right off.
And what's the stuff called again?
Dr. Brahma's. It's a Castle soap.
Dr. Brahma's.
Must have hemp in it.
King Supers, some of the stores sells it in the farm, by the soap and stuff and all that stuff. You used to have to get it in health food stores.
Interesting. Okay. Well, cool.
It just took it off in a second. I mean,
that's good.
It was like nothing in it, and this stuff was crystallized.
Interesting. Oh, good to know.
Yeah, that's
good.
I figured
I'll try that out.
It drove me crazy.
Yeah, I'll
every time.
try that. Yeah, good stuff. Good tip. Thanks, Bill. I appreciate that very much. Let's do this. We'll take a quick timeout. We'll hear from some of the people that actually make this show happen on a weekly basis, which, again, those that you hear advertising, everybody from insurance to Isaac Bouchard, our broker, to Napa, to K&N, to Colorado Select, to our veterinarian clinic, to you name it, whoever is advertising with us or really paying the bills to make sure we stay on air, please use them. Believe me, we really, use them. Everybody, all of the different participants we have, we need all of them. I appreciate them. Please, when you use them, let them know you listen to Drive Radio. Even when you pop into Napa's parts store, okay, you just pop in the door. Let them know you listen to Drive Radio. It's one of the best things you can do when you walk in the door. It'll help you. It helps us. And it's just a great way for you guys really out there to support all of the sponsors that make sure Drive Radio happens every single week. So let's hear from a few of them. We'll be right back. John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
That little check engine light could be telling you that something very bad is about to happen. Then again, it could be nothing. Find out for sure at Extreme Auto Repair in Parker. Most repair shops use a universal scanning tool to diagnose your check engine light, but because of the rapid pace of advancing technology, those tools are just not accurate. Extreme Auto Repair invested in the actual factory scan tools that the dealerships use, which are specific to the make of your car. Extreme owner Dennis Brewster knows that using the right tools to get a job done saves you, the customer, time and money. And it all begins with accurate diagnostics. It's just one more way that Extreme Auto Repair goes to the extreme for you. Extreme Auto Repair in Parker. Call 303-841-1071, 303-841-1071. Mention KLZ 560 and save 20% off your repairs at Extreme Auto Repair. Extreme Auto Repair in Parker. They go to the extreme for you.
This is Red Merrill for Phoenix Weaponry. Phoenix Weaponry is a weapon manufacturer that services the firearm enthusiast. From precision ARs to suppressors, Phoenix Weaponry can make your dreams come true. Phoenix Weaponry is a full-service gun shop that offers gunsmithing, coating, and modifications to your own weapon. Phoenix Weaponry, family-owned and operated right here in Colorado. If you can dream it, Phoenix Weaponry can build it. Call today, 720-340-2496. Again, that's 720-340-2496. Or visit their website, phoenixweaponry.com. Mention Sportsman of Colorado and receive 10% off your custom-built weapon.
Ever try to buy an air filter and get lost in catalogs and vehicle descriptions? Well, K&N, the inventor of reusable cotton filters, has got the answer to the mess. Just visit knfilters.com and enter your vehicle identification number off your dashboard or car registration, and K&N will show you the filter that fits your car. It's never been easier to buy a K&N, the filter that helps your car run better.
Gino's Auto Service in Littleton is your go-to service shop for all your car care needs. Now, for a limited time, have lunch on Gino's. Mention this ad, and with any service work done over $50 on your vehicle, receive a gift certificate for lunch while supplies last. Remember, Gino's is AAA approved, has been in business since 1983, and offers courtesy vehicles while your car is being serviced. They are conveniently located at Bowles and Platte Canyon in Littleton. Have lunch on Gino's. Visit them online at Gino'sAutoservice.com.
At Napa Auto Parts, we've been the most trusted name in auto parts for over 80 years. Probably because we've never stopped looking for ways to make the great parts we sell even better. It's a commitment to quality you'll find in every one of our 310,000 parts. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters, to the patented damping mechanism on our drive-align belt tensioners, to our revolutionary new Adaptive One brakes. And Napa parts are covered by a warranty that's good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores nationwide. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but at Napa, we've spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. To find the Napa Auto Parts store nearest you, go to NapaOnline.com. Napa, get the good stuff.
With over 125 locations in Colorado, southern Wyoming, and western Nebraska, there's only one place to get the good stuff. Napa Auto Parts.
How stressful. You hear a noise, see a fluid leak, feel something funny, a little light comes on your dash, or your car totally breaks down, and you have no idea what it means, what to do, or how to fix it. With how much we depend on our cars to go about our daily lives, you'd think they'd teach us this stuff in school. Luckily for you, you have us. At Community Auto, we're serious about what we do, and we're darn good at it. Having served Fort Collins and Northern Colorado for over 20 years, our family-owned and operated, AAA-approved shop has family that extends far beyond our garage doors.
At Community Auto, we put the emphasis on care, not just auto repair. Ladies, ever felt intimidated going into an auto repair shop?
20 seconds, guys.
You'll be taken advantage of. Our female staff is friendly, knowledgeable, and will thoroughly explain and educate you on what's going on with your car. You'll be in the know and in turn be taken care of. Because at Community Auto, we know that a happy car will get you far.
John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560, along with Steve Horvath from Gino's and Alan Stefan from Gage. And we'll talk about hoses and belts and how to check those properly as we get into the 11 o'clock hour. We got a couple of lines open in the meantime, 303-477-5600. Dominic, you're next. What's going on, sir?
Yeah, I've got a 2004 Exposition Ford I bought new. It's got about 70,000 miles on it now.
Okay.
And it's got a 5.4 engine in it. A couple months ago, it started every once in a while. I'd come up to a stoplight or maybe slow down on a mountain road, and the engine just shut off.
and I put a neutral, and it was starting right up. You have to crank it a little bit, but it'll do that maybe twice a week. Maybe sometimes it takes another 2 weeks for it'll do it again.
Okay.
So on and so forth. I've had it to 2 Ford garages, Lakewood Ford and Phil Long, and they tell me they got to put their computer on it and find out which is whether it's electrical or fuel, and they can't get it done.
It won't duplicate when it's in the shop for them.
Right. They've been driving it on the streets trying to get it to do it. I don't know where I go from here.
Well, in defense of them, it is something that's extremely difficult to know what to try to fix when you aren't encountering the problem at the time you're actually working on the vehicle. So in defense of them, that is a very difficult thing to do. That's not to say there isn't things you couldn't inspect on the front side to determine what might be making it die. What maintenance have you done to it? What all have you done to the vehicle since you've owned it?
Oh, I did all the normal maintenance that they ask you to do. I always took it to Lakewood Ford for all my service work.
Okay.
Until they sold out to this new company.
So has it had spark plugs changed, fuel filters, all those things done?
Well, I know it's got the fuel filter changed. Haven't done none of the spark plugs or anything.
Because if it hasn't been done at 70,000 on that engine, it needs done.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of the time. I know they're supposed to be 100,000 mile spark plug, but at 60 to 70, you really need to change them. Otherwise, you risk ruining the threads in the head. So if they haven't told you that, I'm surprised they haven't, because it really does need a spark plug service at this point, which I'm not saying that's part of your dying problem, but at the same time, they could check the coil packs, they could check the boots, they could check, replace the plugs. And you're due for that as a maintenance item anyway. So if it were me and I was the shop that you were talking to, I'd recommend that before you do anything else, just because you're there anyways. It's time. You need to do it.
Well, spark plugs?
Yes. That may not fix the intermittent dying problem.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, it could have an intermittent mist that it gets on occasion. Again, those are things you just don't know. But going through the spark plugs on that particular engine, it gives you an opportunity to look at a lot of other things, as far as how are the injectors plugged in? Does everything look good there? Because all of that has to be, messed with, if you would, when you're doing the job I'm talking about.
Yeah.
How do you drive this car? Do you do a lot of short trips, long trips? I mean, 70,000 miles on a 10-year-old car isn't very much.
Most of it is short trip, like from here to Idaho Springs, or around.
I would be leaning towards doing a Motovac on it, just to make sure that all the upper end is cleaned out really well. And a Motovac is basically we're cleaning that intake system out really well, decarboning and cleaning out those injectors. It tends to get carbon up, especially you're not really driving a lot. I mean, we're a car that's we're almost a 12-year-old car. Actually, think about it.
Not a lot of miles on it.
A lot of miles. They tend to carbon up pretty good. I think that would be a good idea anyway. And we would probably want to do something like that before we pull those plugs out. I think that helps the plugs come out.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people tell me it's a fuel pump, but I don't.
No, I would doubt that.
No. Those are either on or off.
Yeah. That's usually what I find out.
Yeah. But there is a pretty good shop in Lakewood. I think I'd rather see you go to.
Yep, I would too.
I think Four Seasons would help you out quite a bit.
Most definitely.
Four Seasons.
Mm-hmm.
They're right on Wadsworth.
Just a little bit north.
Jewel and
of
Wadsworth,
Jewel.
basically.
Yep, Jewel and Wadsworth.
Yep.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, I know where they're at.
Yeah, take it in there. Talk to Ray. He's the owner, and he'll take care of you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right, Dominic.
Lakewood Ford, the only thing that they really told me I had to do is I had to change the engine oil plug, because the oil plugs wear out and you have to put new ones in. Because
they do, but that's not going to fix your problem.
I know that.
Yeah, two separate issues.
They've ever done.
And Four Seasons can help you with all of that, by the way. It'd be more than happy to take care of you, Dominic, and they'll save you some money at the same time.
Okay.
Okay, Dominic.
I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Thank you very much. I appreciate the phone call. We'll get you fixed up. And Steve, you're right. Ray and those guys, that's a vehicle right up their alley. They can take care of that. But again, I want to reemphasize, those of you that have those Fords, most of you by now have had spark plugs done in them. It's rare to find an 04 with 70,000 miles that hasn't. But time-wise, it needs done, guys. In fact, he's at a point where those were very, very notorious of blowing the spark plug out of the hole itself and ruining the threads.
They have the kit for it, right?
Yep. It's notorious for that. So I'm surprised that hasn't been an issue up to this point. So, all right, guys, hour number 2 is coming up next. We will, I should say, get into how to properly check belts and hoses. We'll go through some more things when we talk about terminology on what is diagnostics and do we overuse that term. And then I'll try to get through the rest of the vehicles that you can tow with outside of a pickup truck. And I'll just give you a hint. The next one is a vehicle that, no offense, I don't care the size of the trailer, period. I don't think I'd put it behind this car. So we'll get into that when we come back. Hour number 2 is coming up next. John Rush, Steve Horvath, and Alan Stefan right here on Drive Radio KLZ 560.
Still haven't had enough? Go to drive-radio.com. Email your questions and comments. Download previous programs and find lots of useful information, including your nearest Colorado Select Auto Care Center. That's drive-radio.com. Thanks for listening to Drive Radio, sponsored by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers on KLZ 560.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for their highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business. So Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
The big game hunting season is upon us, and archery season is in full swing. Hi, this is Scott Watley with Sportsman of Colorado. Join us Saturdays from 1 to 2 p.m. We'll bring you local outfitters, experts in archery, muzzle loading, and rifle hunting, and much more. Looking for a place to hunt pheasant and waterfowl? We've got you covered. Want to book a trophy deer or elk hunt with a reliable outfitter? We can help. If you like the outdoors, you'll love Sportsman of Colorado. Sportsman of Colorado, Saturdays at 1, right here on KLZ 560.
John Rush here on the next Rush to Reason. We import a lot from China. Electronics, toys, and air pollution. Greg Bertelson, Director for Energy and Resource Policy at the National Association of Manufacturers, will join us to talk about this very important topic. We'll also have traffic and weather updates, of course, from Dan Muir, and we'll take all of your calls. That's the next Rush to Reason in the evening rush hour every weekday from 3 to 6 p.m. right here on KLZ 560.
KLZ AM 560, KLZ HD Denver. Listen live at KLZ560radio.com. KLZ 560, a Crawford Broadcasting God and Country station.
USA Headline News. I'm Tammy Rose. A potential break in the shooting spree along a busy Phoenix freeway. Investigators are questioning a man they detained and are calling a person of interest. For 2 weeks, the ongoing attacks have left a county of more than 4 million people on edge. Commuters are taking different roads, schools, and rerouting buses. California police are investigating after a 19-year-old special needs student was found dead in a school bus. It happened Friday afternoon near Los Angeles. Police say the man's mother called the bus company when her son didn't come home after school. The bus driver returned to the bus yard and found the student inside the bus. Police say bystanders and medics tried to revive the man, but he did not survive. For more news any time of the day, go to usaheadlinenews.com and give us a like on Facebook. This is USA Headline News.
The following is a real-life story from Trinity Debt Management.
I had numerous credit cards, and I was struggling with paying them off, so I made the call.
If you're in debt and you need help, call Trinity at 1-800-793-8752.
The people at Trinity are very friendly. They will do whatever you need them to do in order for you to feel better about being in a very difficult place.
If your debt has you down, call Trinity at 1-800-793-8752.
As an entrepreneur, you're always on the go. So turn your mobile phone into a business phone system with Grasshopper, the entrepreneur's phone system. Get a new business number or keep your current one. Sound professional with a main greeting and multiple extensions that forward callers to your mobile phone. You can even get voicemails transcribed. Join over 150,000 small businesses who stay connected with Grasshopper. See how it works at grasshopper.com. The entrepreneur's phone system.
KLZ Denver.
John Rush during the afternoon rush, weekdays from 3 to 6 on KLZ 560.
Being an expert on general automotive knowledge, what would the correct ignition timing be on a 1955 Bel Air Chevrolet with a 327 cubic inch engine and a 4-barrel carburetor?
It is a trick question.
Watch this.
A Chevy didn't make a 327 in 55. The 327 didn't come out till 62. And it wasn't offered in the Bel Air with a 4-barrel carb till 64. However, in 1964, the correct ignition timing would be 4 degrees before top dead center.
Get ready for another hour of Drive Radio, brought to you by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Got a question for the experts? Then give them a call, 303-477-5600. Now it's time to pop the hood and get our hands dirty. Drive Radio on KLZ 560 The Source.
And we are back. John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560. We're back on Saturday. If it's Sunday, though, you're just hearing us for the first time because our second and third hour are replayed on Sunday. But I will tell you, if it's Sunday, you can't call. I guess you can. There's just nobody here to answer the phone. Charlie was saying last weekend he answered 7 or 8 phone calls, I think, during Sunday. People got messed up with the long weekend, and so people thought Saturday was Sunday and Sunday was.
I was messed up too.
It was a little weird with those 3-day weekends. But if it is Sunday and you're listening to us, you can't call in. You can do this though. You can email us. 2 ways you can do that. Either go to our website, drive-radio.com. Send us an email from there, which right now there's just a single splash page put up right now. We're getting ready to redo the entire website. I had a meeting this past week, got a lot of cool features that we're going to incorporate. It'll take us, I don't know, you know how web developers are, 2-3 weeks to get that thing up and running. My gut feeling is by the end of, I shouldn't say that, by this time in October, we should be done, ready to go. So it'll take us 3 or 4 weeks to get that done. But I encourage you, go to drive-radio.com. Right on there, you can click a link. It'll send me an email directly. I'll answer questions for you that way. I do that all the time. So those of you that are listening on Sunday, if you still want questions answered, by all means, let us know. We'll get them answered. Speaking of which, we already have one today that somebody emailed about. So here's a question for you guys. And by the way, lines are open. Call us. We'll get your questions answered. 303-477-5600. Question of the day is strangest thing you've ever seen in a car next to you. Okay, so strangest thing you've seen in a car next to you. So here's a question coming in from Rick. Says, hey, John, few questions regarding catalytic converters. Is it a normal, let's start with this. Is it a normal maintenance item? How do you know if it's going out or if it's bad? And or if it's already gone out and bad? And when do they, and if they do go out, I should say, is there any danger like fire? Steve, this is right up your alley. I'll let you answer all 3 of those.
There catalytic converters. One more time. Sorry.
Is there any? So when do we know? Is it a normal maintenance item? Number 1. So let's answer that one first.
No, I wouldn't say.
No, because typically you just wait for it to go bad, right?
It should be. If it's fed the right gases and everything, it should last
a long time.
A long time.
Okay, so it's not something that for example, 75,000 miles, you just say, I'm going to put a catalytic converter on it. Now, I will say this, depending upon the age of your vehicle, there are vehicles that are just known to burn through catalytic converters more so than others. Mm-hmm. Some of the older vehicles that didn't quite have the fuel management, or some of you guys out there that do high performance things to your car where you're over fueling, things like that, those things actually add to the wear and tear on the catalytic converter also, back to what Steve just said. Because the converter's working harder to clean all of that up, okay? Yep. Now, how do you know when they're bad? That's the next question, Steve.
Typically, the only times we ever see it is when they're failing emissions.
Okay.
For the most part anymore.
Because really driving it on a daily basis, unless you get some sort of a check engine light on, late model cars, they do read before and after when it comes to the oxygen sensors. They'll give you some indicators, but that started in what, Steve? When did that get more high tech?
It's been since
10 years, maybe.
Yeah, 2008.
Not quite 10 years.
Yeah,
8 years, maybe. It's gotten
something
better.
like that. It's gotten better.
Older vehicles, it's still tough to tell. So
you'll get a check light though.
To your point, Rick, it's hard to tell unless you're just failing an emissions test. You really won't notice anything fuel economy wise or anything along those lines, especially on the older vehicles where it's just oxygen sensor prior to the CAT. You won't really notice any difference there.
It used to be in the old days they would plug, but that doesn't happen anymore.
No.
It's a pretty rare.
Hardly at all. And lastly, no, there's no danger of fire or anything like that. I've never seen one. I mean, I've seen some get really, really, really hot. I don't know that I can tell you that I've ever seen one physically catch fire and catch the vehicle on fire.
No, I've heard stories where they'll pull off field.
Catch a field on fire.
You catch a field on fire. I don't know if that's what he meant, but not a car.
And typically that's not because the CAT's bad. That's because it's been overfueled. It's doing its job. It gets really hot. I've seen them glow, where they get really, really red. In that case, yeah, you got to be careful. That's the rarity, though. That's typically not an issue. You've got a second question, Rick. I'll get to that in just a minute. Let's go to the phones. John, you are next from Nebraska. What's going on, John? Hello, John. John in Nebraska, are you there? And since he's in Nebraska, we may have lost him. So I tell you what, I'm going to put him on hold. Let's see if we can get him back, and we'll go to Eric in Windsor, who is next. Eric, you're not quite in Nebraska, but what can we do for you?
How you doing this morning?
Doing great.
Yeah, quick question. So I got a 2010 Hyundai Elantra. I've got 208,000 miles on that thing.
Okay.
And drive to Denver every day from Windsor. And so the issue I'm having is it's been cutting out on me a little bit. So basically what it does is if I'm traveling along about 35, 40 miles an hour through town, barely pushing on the gas, it'll start to get like real choppy. And if I give it a little bit of gas, it kind of gets itself out of that. And driving on the interstate, I can have it almost floored before, it really starts to get up to 75, 80 miles an hour. I mean, it takes a few minutes. So it really seems like it's choking out or something like that. I went to a local place here in Windsor and they did their quick diagnostic for me, charged me $100 and told me it was the spark plugs.
Okay.
So I put new plugs in it and it seemed okay for a day or so, but now it's probably worse than it's ever been. So.
Yeah, and it sounds like you need to get somebody that knows a little bit more about the vehicle as far as, in other words, it sounds like you've actually got a problem, not just a maintenance issue. Your spark plugs would just be a maintenance issue. Rarely do you fix a vehicle by putting a spark plug in it. I'm not saying that that's not ever a fix, but anymore, and Steve's over here shaking his head, rarely is that a fix to a vehicle. It used to be in the old days you could do a tune-up on a car, for example, and fix a lot of things. That's not the case anymore.
Well, I was getting to take the back seat out and try to get to the fuel filter and switch that out and see if maybe that would help. But I don't know. What do you think?
The fuel filter shouldn't be in the back seat, though.
Oh, they told me it was underneath there. You got to remove the back seat to get to it.
Got it.
Somewhere by the gas tank.
On the top of the tank, maybe? Is that what they're trying to say?
Yeah.
Has never been replaced?
Never has.
That would be a good idea. I just don't remember.
And really, what you ought to do, Eric, honestly, is go up to Community Auto up in Fort Collins, stop in, talk to Stacia, tell her what's going on, what you need done, what's happening, what you're thinking about doing in regards to fuel filter. Have her look the vehicle over first before you go throw any more parts on it.
Okay.
Have them put some scan tools on it, find out exactly what it's doing, and go from there.
Yeah, with that being said, the check engine light's been on for a while because of it. So
there you go. Yeah, go in there, talk to Stacia. She'll take care of you. Tell her you listen to the radio show. She'll open she'll welcome you with open arms. She'll walk you through the shop, show you around. Just go up there and get taken care of.
What's the name of this place?
It's called Community Auto.
Okay.
They're right on our website. Let me look it up for you here real quick. Give me 1 second. I'll give you an address. I apologize. I should have had that.
1925 Timberline Road. Fort Collins. Do you want
I know where that is. I know where that is.
Yeah, it's a good shop. Great shop.
Okay. Well, good. I'll do that.
They've got great technicians. They'll take care of you, and they'll get you on your way.
And those girls were supposed to be here today. I even combed my hair.
we were going to have Ladies' Day today, Eric. So they're actually planning on coming in. They had some things happen family-wise where they couldn't make it, but great facility, family run. You will not be disappointed.
Tell them that we missed them.
That's right.
They're very good people.
Yep.
I'll do that. Thanks for the help.
You're very welcome, Eric. Appreciate it very much. Yeah, and Steve, they are. I can't say enough about Community Auto, our partner up in Fort Collins. And again, to Steve's point, the phone number there is 970-484-7500. 556. It's Community Auto, 1925 Timberline Road. Real easy to find, especially if you're in Windsor. It's a piece of cake to find. Actually, it's right up in your neck of the woods there, Mr. Stefan, isn't it?
Yes, right across I-25. It's pretty easy.
All right, so the answer, I was going to email Rick back the rest of his answer here, too. He was also asking, he's on 94 Corolla, 1.8 liter 5-speed, 240,000 miles, still runs great, bought it new, never replaced the cat, still passes emissions test. Does he need to replace the cat?
Definitely no.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna send him that back and say, nope, not at this point. Just keep driving it.
That's that one that's right by the radiator, right in. If you, well, that's just right off.
I'm not a 94 Corolla guy. Yeah. Never worked on a lot of those in our shop.
They're a good car.
We worked on
big Jeeps,
our Toyota pickups and Tacomas and things like that back in the day. Lots of 4Runners back then in 94. We had a lot of 4Runners that rolled in and out. That was a very popular car for us back then. So at any rate, let's go. I tell you what, let's do this. John's back. Let's take him before we take a quick break. John, welcome back. What's going on, sir?
Yeah, I've got a problem. I've got a 2000 F-250 with a V10 in it.
Okay.
And I've got something the matter with the electrical charging system because my ammeter has never shown any lack of charging, but I keep having problems. The battery light keeps coming on and going off, and I can't predict. It's not steady or anything. And usually when the thing comes off, you're out in the middle of nowhere, and that's where it drains your battery.
Sure.
But, but then when you take it into the, and have it tested, everything's fine.
What kind of tester are they using? They just using a little handheld guy, or are they using a full machine?
No, we take it off and they run it on the machine.
Oh, you take the alternator off and run it on a machine?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
And so I'm trying to figure out what the problem is. It's driving me crazy because, when I'm in town and, you hope that the thing goes bad so you can take it in and have somebody look at it or have it replaced, it doesn't bother you. You get out in the middle of nowhere, and that's when the problems arise.
I'd like to see it tested on the car with a good. I was thinking the VAT 45, something that actually puts the stress on the alternator, puts it through the power of it, and not just a little handheld machine, which work fine. But this one will put the stress on, because I think you have a bad diode. Is what my feeling.
And you won't know that unless it's on the vehicle.
Yeah, it's just a better test for that particular deal.
Okay, well, no, what it is, I've taken it into Napa and and taken it off in the parking lot and taken it into them.
Yeah, I'd rather see
not the same test.
Yeah, it's
just not. It's not the same test.
Yeah.
Well, what we've got today. Just this doesn't just apply to you, by the way, John. This is for everybody else out there listening, and Alan knows this. We've got enough sophisticated equipment now when it comes to testing not only the battery, but the electrical system, the charging system, the starter, everything that's going on. The problem is all of those things intertwine, and you really need to check them at the same time on the vehicle. And we've got great equipment now, shops do. At least the good shops have good equipment to really go in and check all of those systems out at the same time. So you run a complete electrical analysis in one time.
The one at the store is just doing an output.
That's all it's doing.
It's just an output. It's either working or not working. So it's working.
It's not showing you load. It's not doing any of that.
Yeah, it's not on the system.
Okay. So what I need is a analysis that involves a load test.
Not even a load test. Believe it or not, the new sophisticated equipment we have, it does it several ways. So for example, even in my fleet shop, we've got a tester we use where it'll check the battery, it checks the charging system and the starter, and it's about a 10-minute test where you keep the engine at idle, you rev it up, you turn on lights, you turn on heater, so at that point you're putting load on it. You do all these different things throughout the test, simulating what would be happening going down the road. Then it checks all those systems out and tells you exactly what's going on.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, no, it does. And you think it's just a bad diode.
It could very well be, but may not.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you don't want to just throw an alternator at it.
Yeah, and that one's expensive enough where I wouldn't just say go buy an alternator because you're going to spend $150 or so for an alternator, and I don't think I'd do that just off the top until you know it's bad.
Can you replace the diode separately, or is it integral?
You probably could, but anymore it's not worth it. You can buy it. You can buy a remanufactured alternator with a really long-term warranty on it, and honestly, not spend a whole lot more money unless you're doing all the labor yourself. Of course, not in the shop. You can't rebuild an alternator in the shop anymore because the labor is too expensive.
Yeah.
You might be able to, but a shop can't.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that one.
And to answer your question, yes, you could buy the diodes. The problem is a lot of the late model alternators, if you don't get them reassembled just exactly right, they won't last.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that is alignment-wise, not the parts like the regulator and the diodes and the stator. I'm talking about the actual alignment of the case with the shaft and all of that. If you don't get all that back together just exactly right, they won't last.
Okay. So in other words, I just have to find a shop that gives a good test.
You need somebody up there in Nebraska that can actually run through. And what you need to ask them is, I want a good load and electrical test analysis, if you would, on my system. And then ask them, what equipment are you using? If they're just using a regular old plate type load tester, not good enough. They need some of the later model sophisticated electronic instrumentation that you actually put on the system that's reading all of the, electronically reading everything going on in your system.
What part of Nebraska are you in?
Well, I'm actually 60 miles east of Cheyenne, so there ought to be somebody in Cheyenne that's got it.
Yeah, and if worse comes to worse, you could drive down to Stacia and the gals at Community Auto, and they could do it also. But there ought to be somebody in Cheyenne that could do that.
Come to Fort Collins for the beer tour, and then you can go leave the car at Community Auto. How's that sound?
I'll put it this way. The only problem I've got with that is I'm deathly allergic to alcohol.
Well, that's not going to work then.
Well, okay.
You're in the other problem is you're three. I mean, in defense of you're 3 hours. If you're an hour from Cheyenne, well, actually 2 hours, I should say. If you're an hour Cheyenne, you're another hour down to Fort Collins. You'd have to make a trip out of that. But but if you can't find somebody up there that could, because you're at a point where even if you thought throwing an alternator on it would fix it, I'd still want to do a complete electrical analysis to find out what's going on.
There's a good shop in Sydney.
Well, which one? Wolf?
I would call the store. It's one of his auto cares. He's up there right across the street from Cabela's. The name escapes me at the moment, but fine shop there.
Okay. Yeah, I'll put it this way. I can look into that.
Okay. We need to get them. We need to get a sponsor up there, Alan.
Yeah.
We have a lot of Nebraska listeners, by the way. So, John, you're not our only one up there. So, if you find a good shop up there, let me know. We could use somebody up in that area to send people to.
Every time I'm on the show, we have Cheyenne.
We do. No, it'd be great.
We need to go prospecting.
Yes.
Well, put it this way. Who in Cheyenne might I ask?
I haven't a clue.
Hollers.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm familiar with him.
Yeah. He works on diesels, but he's pretty knowledgeable.
Okay, good. We need to go contact him too, Alan.
Yeah,
John?
No, thank you guys.
No, you bet. No, we got to run to a break, but I appreciate the phone call very much. That was actually helpful even to me. So we'll do a little headhunt here in this next couple weeks and see what we can put together. Mindy, let's go to a quick break. We'll be right back. John Rush, KLZ 560.
Isn't it ironic that in order to remove engine grease, you need plenty of elbow grease? Well, Napa has you, your engine and your elbows covered. Get Gunk Original Engine Degreaser for $2.99 and get a mail-in rebate good for the entire sale price. That makes it all practically free. The savings continue with the 5-quart Napa Conventional Oil Change Combo with the Napa Silver Oil Filter for $17.99 every day. Conquer the job and your questions with Napa Know-How.
Napa Know-How! You work hard for your customers, and so do your vehicles. At Tilden Total Car Care, we understand how important your vehicles are to your business. At Tilden Total Car Care, we specialize in fleet maintenance. We'll keep your vehicles running their best because we know that if your vehicles aren't running, your business isn't running. Our fleet maintenance service will ensure that your vehicles are maintained according to the manufacturer's specifications, with the proper maintenance performed at the proper time. The proper service intervals ensure that your maintenance costs are kept low, your vehicles kept running right, and your customers kept happy. Let us show you how to minimize downtime and maintenance costs while extending the life, value, and productivity of your vehicles. Call Tilden at 303-797-7977, 303-797-7977, and let us show you how fleet maintenance is done. Tilden Total Car Care, your fleet maintenance partner, helping as many people as we can, as fast as we can.
Today's cars and trucks are very complicated and can be expensive to repair. At Arvada West Auto and Truck, we can help you to understand the complex nature of repairs. We specialize in computer repairs. Maybe you have tried another shop and you still have the same problem. Let our highly experienced technicians at Arvada West Auto help you. Call 303-422-1065 or stop by and see us at Arvada West Auto and Truck, 11752 West 64th Avenue in West Arvada, or visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com. 303-422-1065.
Top auto manufacturers admit that today's high-tech engines on average can use a quart of oil every 1,000 miles. Why? To meet the government's fuel economy mandates, they use the faster-moving, low-tension piston rings that can clog quickly, reducing power, causing poor fuel economy. The Performance Oil Service from BG Products cleans piston rings and restores the fuel system. And it's backed up with lifetime protection for the engine. Ask your service advisor about the BG Performance Oil Service or go to bgfindashop.com. That's bgfindashop.com. BG.
Have you ever been ripped off by an auto shop? Chances are you have at least felt like you were, and as a technician myself, I get it. So how do you know who to trust? The answer is to always choose a Colorado Select Auto Care Center. Colorado Select is a hand-picked group of independent shops who all adhere to the highest standards of customer service. They use ASE-certified master technicians who all offer at least a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on repairs, far exceeding most dealerships. Find a shop nearest you at coloradoselect.com. In Arvada and Westminster, trust your car to Larry's Automotive and Transmission, the Driveline Pros. They're one of the few ASE-certified repair shops that's also an ATRA certified transmission facility. Call 303-427-2108. John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560, Steve Horvath, and Alan Stefan right here on KLZ 560. And this just came in from a listener. Something I did. Roommate needed a ride immediately. I was in my robe and hair curler, so I grabbed a rolling pin on the way out the door. Pulled up next to a cop. He kind of looked over. I shook my rolling pin at him, and he just lost it.
That's great.
I love it.
That's pretty good, actually.
That wasn't the cop that was on the cell phone.
No, because this guy would have noticed.
Yes, he would have noticed.
That's pretty good, actually. So that, we had a good chuckle during the break on that one. So yeah, anything that you've noted, or here,
I can just picture her. I got that in my mind now.
We shouldn't have done
Wonderful.
that. Shouldn't have done that.
No.
So the question of the day is, what's the strangest thing you've seen in the car next to you? Now, this particular listener, emailed in, this is what they did, which to somebody else was probably really strange. I guess we could go that way too. What's the strangest thing you've ever done in a car? Yeah. Keep it clean.
We need that cop to call in and tell us what
that looked like.
Yeah.
Lines open, by the way, 303-477-5600. So I think we got Rick all taken care of. He had one other question on his Dodge Ram 5.9 diesel that I've already answered on that end of things. He's over in Ray's neck of the woods. And he really wanted to know what it would take to put a catalytic converter on that Toyota, but I just emailed him back and said, don't worry about it. Keep driving it.
No, it's not too bad. It's not too hard of a job, but
I'd wait till it needs it.
Not needed.
Okay, so Larry's answering some calls. And those of you on YouTube, I'm going to show you this real quick that you can see this. So there's a new device that Gates has come out with. I can hold this up on the camera here that you can see. It's a belt checking device, right, Alan? So the old days of actually looking at a belt and saying, oh, there's so many cracks per inch, or there's this, or there's that. That doesn't work any longer, correct?
That's correct. They don't show their wear, so to speak. They don't crack. New rubber technology. And then we came out with the toothpick design a few years ago, and it didn't seem to be working quite as well. It was hard to get into a particular area, and we found out that techs, maybe through a lot of years of abuse with impact wrenches,
your fingers get worn down.
Yeah, so they weren't able to feel that gauge, and we're talking only
sort of like Peyton Manning. You lose some of that feeling in your fingers, right?
Yeah,
it worked good as a toothpick, though.
It worked great. It was good at AC clinics.
Nice plastic toothpick.
Yeah, it was great at AC clinics when they were.
So you have a new device,
right? And that gauge, and just think of it: tires wear, and so do belts. They're rubber. So this is basically checking the depth, so it makes contact with the pulleys. And our campaign is inspect at 60. You can inspect it any time, actually. Right. Inspect at 60, replace at 90.
No matter what.
And do it as a system. A lot of times the tensioners are neglected. They're not being replaced. Then we get a belt back and says, oh, this belt's squeaking. It's defective. Generally, they're not. they're not replacing the tensioner. So,
okay, so if you're a do-it-yourselfer, where do you get this nice little orange checker?
I should have them at the Napa stores very soon. I left a bunch of them in Casper, Wyoming, so we'll have them within the next couple of weeks.
Okay, all right, we're going to talk more about this, so don't worry. Let's go to the phones real quick. Jeff, you are up next. What's going on, sir?
Hey, I just bought an 02 Toyota RAV4, and I had Community Auto look it over before I bought it.
Great.
And they had a transmission expert look at the transmission because it was doing some funny stuff.
Okay.
And the guy said it worked great. He did a very thorough inspection of it, but he had to reflash it. And they said it has to relearn how to change gears. And when I drive from second to third gear, it revs up the RPMs and then kind of lurches the car forward.
Okay. And when did they do the reflash? How long ago?
I think about 3 weeks ago I bought the car.
It should be relearned by now.
So
what did it? Was it doing that prior to the reflash?
Yeah, it was acting kind of funny, and they said they reflashed it and they drove it around for half an hour and tested it out and made sure that it was improved, but it still does it. It's not as bad as it was, but it's still doing it.
I think what I would do is run it back up to Stacia, have those guys go for a drive with you so they can get an idea of what it's actually doing. And it may be that, all sorts of things could be. It could be that the reflash didn't take or in other words, the update didn't take like it should have. Could be there's something else wrong transmission-wise, although if you went through it and inspected it, you'd think that they would have, you'd think they would know that there's no issues there. But I say all that to say it's still a used car. You don't know the history before you. What was fluid and all of that like? Did they do anything that way at all?
They said all the fluids were good. I changed the oil and it looked real murky and bad, like I haven't changed in a while. But
okay,
they said the power steering fluid and the transmission fluid and everything else was great.
Okay. Yeah, I think at this point, if it's been 3 weeks, the shifting still isn't right. Run it back up to Stacia, have them go for a ride with you, have them get their eyes and ears on it and really see to the pants, see how it feels to them, and then have them do some diagnostics on it and figure out what's going on.
All right, cool.
Okay.
Thanks.
You're very welcome. I appreciate it, Jeff. Real quick, we need to talk about Robbins Detailing.
Oh, yes. Robbins Detailing.
One of our great sponsors here on Drive Radio. And I've actually got a car for them to detail here in the very near future. You're using them pretty regularly, Steve. So talk about that.
I'm just getting them set up now. Every month we're having them come out and they're cleaning our loaner cars and they're just doing a wonderful job. It's so easy.
Takes a lot of load off you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's nice. And, our cars get kind of run down a little bit. And our biggest problem with our shop is finding them. They're like herding cats to get the cars.
Right.
But he does a nice job. He spent such a long time on each car, and it's not just, and he does whatever style. I mean, I could say do a full blow detail or just make them so they're clean.
Right.
And that's what he was doing for me yesterday. He spent, he was there 3-4 hours. He did 4 cars.
And just so everybody understands, he does all of this with his own equipment, own water, everything. He just pulls up. He's ready to go. All you have to do is give him the keys to the car.
Absolutely.
That's it. He does everything else.
Absolutely. And now he's going to go to my sister, like, saw him, and he's going to go to her house and do her cars and
awesome
and that kind of thing. So he'll go to you.
Yeah. Exactly.
What's the area that he covers?
All across the Front Range.
Yeah.
Really?
He's located down here in this Parker area, but he'll go all the way up. He's got several clients even up in the Longmont area, so he'll go all the way up north. Not a problem. By the way, it's Robbins Mobile Detailing, 720-491-1668, but he's right on our homepage at drive-radio.com. So yes, Steve, I appreciate the feedback. I've got a car to have him. We're going to try to sell a car for a good friend of ours. Going to get him up here in the next couple of weeks, get that car all detailed out and get it going. So he's a great guy. If you need anything, and it's not, I should explain this also, Steve, it's not just all detailing. If you just need a wash, just a plain old wash job, wash and vacuum, he'll come and do that also. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. And it's, it's nice you could have him come do 2 or 3 cars for you like that. So easy.
It works out really well. Yeah. So I really appreciate that. Really a great company, Robbins Mobile Detailing. Sean, you're up next. What's going on, sir?
Hey, John, thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
Look forward to your program Saturday mornings. So here's my question. I'm considering buying a motorhome. It's an Itasca Navon 2006. It has a 2.7 liter Mercedes turbo diesel in it. I think it's commonly called a Sprinter.
Yeah.
And I have heard...
Buy one of those if you like spending money.
Well, okay, that's part of my question. I've
tell me how you feel.
So, I mean, I'm just being honest. And some of this is coming from people that I know. We worked on several of those back when I had my two shops. Keeters up in Boulder. They're one of our great shops now up in the Boulder area. And if you want to know anything about Sprinter maintenance, call Keeters in Boulder and they will tell you all about them, but they require a lot of maintenance.
Okay. One specific thing I keep seeing on the web is that the turbo resonator is actually a plastic component that cracks after anywhere from 5,000 miles.
And they have
turbo.
They have problems that way, turbo problems, you name it. And there's other problems. The biggest problem with those things also is parts are not necessarily hard to find, but they're expensive because it's all Mercedes.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So really, no offense, there's other motorhomes you can buy that will do exactly what that thing's doing. You'll spend less money over the long haul with.
So any recommendations? I wanted a fuel-efficient diesel engine with not, like a 24-foot motorhome. I didn't want to get a great big 30.
You could buy, and so what year was this one? I didn't write it down. I'm sorry.
This one was an 06.
An 06. Okay, so in 06, you got to be careful on the diesel side of the fence. The only diesel in 06 that I would buy, and I don't think there's too many Cummins running around unless you get into the big pusher ones. So on the smaller, Class C type motorhomes, you're going to have to find a Duramax in an 06. You can buy a Ford, but you can't buy a Ford up until about 2011.
Okay.
Because the 6.4 diesels were garbage, and so were the 6-liters. Sorry, they just were. They're as big a money pit as the Sprinters are.
Okay, but that Duramax is pretty good diesel?
The Duramax is a fantastic diesel.
And paired up with what, an Allison transmission on those?
If you found one of those motorhomes with a 6.6 Duramax and an Allison behind it, and even had some miles and stuff on it, you'd be better off than you would with some of the other ones that are out there.
Okay, and you can tow with that, right?
Oh, yeah.
I could tow a small Jeep behind it or something.
Definitely.
All right, so that goes to the earlier question of the day. What else to tow with? Well, how about an RV?
You can. There's a lot of RVs that actually tow really well if it's the right RV. There's some that are already taxed. In other words, the way those RV guys work, just so everybody knows real quick, this is just a real quick side note here, is, they buy a chassis, then they put all of their stuff on the back end of it, and off, out the door it goes. And there's not a lot of how do I want to say this? Building a car has a totally different set of regulations, DOT, etc., than motorhomes do. It's not one and the same. They buy a chassis, put everything on the back end of it that they want, send it down the road. And you know what? It could be the most underpowered pig in the world. They don't care as long as it's got all their coach stuff on it and they can sell it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen some that literally are pigs, totally pigs. They won't run up I-70 more than 45, 50 miles an hour on a good day.
Okay. Who should I take if I find a Duramax, who should I take it to have it checked out?
If you're in Castle Rock, go over to Extreme Auto Repair, talk to Dennis and his guys. They can check that out for you. They got some really great diesel techs. They can check any of them for that matter.
Thanks so much, John.
You're very welcome. Appreciate it. And I hate to steer away from the little diesel Mercedes Sprinters, but they are
good. No, they're good for parts.
They're a maintenance hog.
We've got parts for them. So.
Yeah, there you go.
I love them.
All right, let's do this. Take a quick break. We'll come right back. We've got lines open 303-477-5600. John Rush Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Today's cars and trucks are very complicated and can be expensive to repair. At Arvada West Auto and Truck, we can help you to understand the complex nature of repairs. We specialize in computer repairs. Maybe you have tried another shop and you still have the same problem. Let our highly experienced technicians at Arvada West Auto help you. Call 303-422-1065 or stop by and see us at Arvada West Auto and Truck, 11752 West 64th Avenue in West Arvada, or visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com. 303-422-1065.
Gino's Auto Service in Littleton is your go-to service shop for all your car care needs. Now, for a limited time, have lunch on Gino's. Mention this ad, and with any service work done over $50 on your vehicle, receive a gift certificate for lunch while supplies last. Remember, Gino's is AAA approved, has been in business since 1983, and offers courtesy vehicles while your car is being serviced. They are conveniently located at Bowles and Platte Canyon in Littleton. Have lunch on Gino's. Visit them online at Gino'sAutoservice.com.
This is Isaac Bouchard from Bespoke Autos. The word bespoke means custom tailored, and that's what we do when you're shopping for a car, truck, or SUV. We custom tailor to your needs, whether you're buying new or used, lease, or purchase. We also make sure you get the most for any trade-in and can assist with financing. I've been helping people like you find the perfect car for your needs and budget since 1991, and my team at Bespoke Autos will make sure we continue to deliver on this. Find out more at denverautobrokers.org. That's denverautobrokers.org.
We've all been there. You're under the hood and suddenly realize you don't have the parts you need. Or even worse, you don't know what parts you need. Well, at Napa Auto Parts, we have ASE certified parts specialists that'll make sure you find that right part. One covered by a warranty good at any one of 6,000 Napa locations. Yeah, finding the right part might not be easy, but fortunately, finding the right part store is. Go to NapaOnline.com for the location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
What you suspect is a major problem with your transmission is probably something that requires only a minor repair, for now anyway. Larry's Automotive and Transmission Repair will tell you that nearly all transmission repairs are minor, as long as they can fix it quickly. Once you suspect the transmission, take it to Larry's and have it checked right away, because a simple repair can quickly escalate and become a complete transmission overhaul if you keep driving on it. Larry's Automotive and Transmission would rather save you from that expense if at all possible, and in most cases, a simple repair is all that's necessary. At the very first sign of trouble, call Larry's Automotive and Transmission at 303-427-2108. They're ATRA certified, ASE Master certified, and A+ with a BBB. Recommended by John Rush. Larry's Automotive and Transmission, the Driveline Pros, 303-427-2108.
John Rush here. I want to talk to you about a story I read this past week. A Labrador Retriever had to go in for surgery, and it was found that he had 62 hair bands, 8 pairs of underwear, and a Band-Aid inside of his stomach, which means the dog ate just about anything. So if that were your dog, where would you take him to get that problem solved? Well, I've got just the place. Lone Tree Veterinarian Medical Center. The phone number is 303-708-8050. Go to LoneTreeVet.com. They have got the most fantastic facility you will ever see. Everything in one site, from dog grooming to training to their full lab to the surgery center to you name it. They can take care of it. Cats, dogs, other pets. It doesn't make any difference. If you've got a pet, you need Lone Tree Veterinarian Medical Center. Again, the phone number 303-708-8050. Dr. Bill and Nancy Moyle, they have owned it for
20 seconds till start, guys.
Ages. They've owned it. They're longtime listeners of Drive Radio, and you know what? They appreciate the information that Drive Radio gives out. So the best way to support them is give them a call, have them be your doctor for your pet.
5 seconds.
Make sure you tell them that John Rush from Drive Radio sent you. Drive Radio, John Rush, Steve Horvath, and Alan Stefan, and it's an absolutely gorgeous, beautiful Saturday. And I say Saturday because it is a Saturday.
And if you're listening on Sunday, don't call in, right?
My wife and some of the kids, I think one of my grandsons took my ticket to go to the CU game today because I'm on air, and I'm like, wow, what a great day to go to a ball game.
But she left mowing the grass for you.
And I got to go mow.
Oh. See?
Yeah. Well, that's a long story, but I'll get into that in a minute. Normally, my guys come over and mow my lawn because I've got crews that are out running around and so on. But the battery was dead on the mower for some reason. I'm like, guys, all you got to do is tell me, and I'll tell you how to get the thing started because I've got a battery charger and everything. You could have just hooked it up and got the thing fired up and going. Somebody must have left the key on because it was deader than a macro when I got home last night. I mean, it was dead. So even us car guys have issues sometimes, okay? Get it?
Yes.
It's not always, peachy keen on our side of the fence. We have issues just like the rest of you have.
We got to get John to call in. That's what we got to do.
Well, how do I get my mower? Charge the battery, dummy. Here we go, Stephen. What's going on, sir? Hello, Stephen.
Yes. Hi, how are you?
Doing great.
I like your show. Then I just predicted yesterday at one of your shop, and but I asking him, do I need to replace those bulletproof? So he said, okay. My question is, this 07 Impala.
Okay, 07 Impala.
Yeah, I buy it new, but I never changed the bulletproof.
You have a brake question?
Yeah.
Okay.
My question is, do I need to replace those brake fluids since 7 years or 8 years already? 75,000 miles.
So you got 75,000 miles. Here's what you need to do on brakes. If the fluid hasn't been changed, that definitely needs to be changed. Somebody needs to inspect also the hoses, the calipers. If you haven't done brake pads at this point, you just need to have those inspected. I'm guessing those have been done at least once by now, but if not, you need to have the brakes themselves, the pads inspected. But yeah, fluid and hoses, both. Fluid needs flushed, hoses need inspected.
Yeah, but he said he already came my thumb will be like a machine it, except the pad should be okay. He said, but I'm not sure. That's 7 years, 75,000.
So where you took it said it was okay.
He said okay there.
Okay. Well, if that's what if they looked at it and said it was okay, then I would go off of that.
But how about the brake fluid? But they was fast. Yeah.
Typically, you want to change brake fluid about every 60 to 70,000 miles.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
but when you do brake jobs, a lot of times the fluid will get changed when they're doing a brake job. So it depends on whether that's been done between, when the car was first built versus today. If somebody along the line actually did a brake fluid flush, then it wouldn't need it today. That's where you really need somebody to look at it and tell you what's going on.
Oh, okay.
All right, Stephen. Thanks so much for the phone call. 303-477-5600 is our phone number. All right, let's give another quick tip real quick before we take our next break because I got behind, so we'll take another one here in just a moment. Give somebody else another quick tip, Alan, on belts and hoses. So let's make sure we're done with the belt side of the fence. So we've got this quick little gauge, handy little gauge, I should say,
right,
that you use to determine whether the belts are actually bad or not, because belts they still wear like they used to, but they don't show the signs of wear like they used to.
Can get misdiagnosed, if you will.
Got it.
So this is a way to check it. Maybe you're doing oil change. Maybe you're doing brake job. You're under there. You can access that belt pretty easily now with the new gauge.
Got it.
Let's check it. If it's good, it's good.
So if you're like Steven, the last caller, you've got 75, 80,000 miles. You're probably at a point where serpentine belt is probably a good thing to replace at that point in time, whether it's totally bad or not. You're at a mileage where I would say if there's never had a belt put on it, it's due.
Well, you guys both sitting here today have had belt issues.
Yes, we have.
So it can happen.
So what else does somebody need to do while they're changing that belt? What else do we need to look at?
I would recommend changing the tensioner.
Okay. Which is, for those novices out there, what's a tensioner? What does it do?
Basically applying tension to that belt so it makes contact with the pulleys and there's no slipping.
Because in the old days, we always had to put each individual belt on by itself. You had to tighten up the alternator, the air conditioning compressor, the air pump. And
slide it all on a bracket.
Go down the list. Nowadays, it's not that way.
It's automatic tensioner. It's done. But they wear out and they get overlooked.
Because they're putting pressure on the belt all the time, even when the car is not running.
It's all about tension.
It's basically a big spring inside. Some of them are hydraulic, but most of them are spring operated, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. Let's take a quick break. We'll come right back. We'll finish out this second hour. Got another hour coming up, one segment left of this hour. Anything you want to ask us, lines are open, 303-477-5600. We'll be back right after this. Don't go away. John Rush Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Hello, Drive Radio listeners. This is Chris Hammond with Ken's and Leslie Distributing, your local BG products distributor. Back again this week with your BG Tech Tip. This week, we're going to take a look at driveline fluids. Now, according to the owner's manual of one best-selling for 33 years running light-duty pickup truck for the current model year, the differential and transfer case fluids are good for up to 150,000 miles, unless you happen to fall into one of these conditions: driving in the mountains, towing a trailer, low-speed driving, dusty or sandy conditions, off-road operations, or any time the differential is submerged in water, whether it's frozen or not. Now, if you meet any of those conditions, the lifetime of that fluid drops by more than half, and they recommend replacing it 60,000 miles. The moral of the story is, whether you're driving in the mountains or you're driving in the city, extreme temperatures on your driveline components can rapidly reduce the additive package in the gear oils for those components. And when that happens, the fluid loses its ability to lubricate in those high shear forces in those gearboxes, thus putting those expensive driveline components at risk. So how do you solve this? We recommend that at every 30,000 miles, you have a certified technician check the condition of those fluids and advise on replacement at that time. Thanks again, Drive Radio listeners. This is Chris Hammond with BG Products. We'll be back again next week with your BG Tech Tip.
At Napa Auto Parts, we've been the most trusted name in auto parts for over 80 years. Probably because we've never stopped looking for ways to make the great parts we sell even better. It's a commitment to quality you'll find in every one of our 310,000 parts. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters, to the patented damping mechanism on our drive-align belt tensioners, to our revolutionary new Adaptive One brakes. And Napa parts are covered by a warranty that's good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores nationwide. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but at Napa, we've spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. To find the Napa Auto Parts store nearest you, go to NapaOnline.com. Napa, get the good stuff.
With over 125 locations in Colorado, southern Wyoming, and western Nebraska, there's only one place to get the good stuff: Napa Auto Parts.
Your wheel alignment can affect tire wear and fuel mileage that will cost you more for repairs and fuel. Arvada West uses state-of-the-art 3D imaging to align all four wheels of your vehicle. Be aware that irregular tire wear could also cause the need for additional alignment parts. Stop in or call us for our alignment special. Mention this ad and we'll inspect your vehicle and check your alignment starting at $69.95. Call Arvada West Auto at 303-422-1065. Stop by 11752 West 64th Avenue or visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com.
We breathe dirty air every day, and believe it or not, the air you breathe inside your vehicle can be even more polluted than the air outside. Thankfully, many of the vehicles sold today are equipped with a cabin air filter to help keep the air inside your car clean. If you are driving a car with a dirty or clogged cabin air filter, not only are you breathing dirty air, but it also puts a strain on your car's HVAC system, decreasing its performance and longevity. K&N, the inventor of washable automotive air filters, has applied its decades of high-flow, washable air filter design to cabin air filters for cars and trucks. These robust filters clean and freshen the air coming into your car's interior and are electrostatically charged to hold dust and dirt. They feature a pleated filter media that helps capture most mold, mildew, fungus, spores, bacteria, germs, pollen, and other allergens, while still allowing a high volume of airflow. They are strengthened by a custom design frame for a great fit and years of use. Best of all, K&N cabin air filters are washable and clean up easy with the K&N Refresher Cabin Air Filter Cleaning Kit. They typically only need cleaning every 12 to 15,000 miles or once a year, but you can wash them more often if you'd like, and K&N backs them up with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. They come with easy-to-follow installation instructions so you can easily replace your old filter, usually in 5 to 10 minutes. Keep the air inside your car clean and fresh without continually burying and throwing away disposable filters. Find the K&N washable cabin air filter for your car or truck at knfilters.com. That's knfilters.com.
How stressful. You hear a noise, see a fluid leak, feel something funny, a little light comes on your dash, or your car totally breaks down, and you have no idea what it means, what to do, or how to fix it. With how much we depend on our cars to go about our daily lives, you'd think they'd teach us this stuff in school. Luckily for you, you have us. At Community Auto, we're serious about what we do, and we're darn good at it. Having served Fort Collins and Northern Colorado for over 20 years, our family-owned and operated AAA-approved shop has family that extends far beyond our garage doors.
At Community Auto, we put the emphasis on care, not just auto repair. Ladies, ever felt intimidated going into an auto repair shop? Scared you'll be taken advantage of? Our female staff is friendly, knowledgeable, and will thoroughly explain and educate you on what's going on with your car. You'll be in the know and in turn be taken care of. Because at Community Auto, we know that a happy car will get you far.
Here are the 3 C's of high performance in less than 60 seconds. Your engine piston rings must have good compression, which makes good combustion, which saves cash at the pump. but you lose compression when piston rings clog with carbon. Today's engines use low tension rings, which clog much easier, which lowers compression, combustion, and the amount of cash in your pocket with higher fuel cost and expensive repairs. This problem can be fixed as fast as your next oil change. The best service shops use a BG product that cleans the engine and accomplishes the 3 C's in just 15 minutes. It has 3 letters, EPR, as in Engine Performance Restoration, that cleans piston rings and restores compression, which increases and saves you. Find a shop with BG products at bgfindashop.com. That's bgfindashop.com. So,
5 seconds.
you'll find more of this in your engine and this in your pocket when you clean your engine with BG.
John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560, Steve Horvath, and Alan Stefan with me. We're going to finish out this second hour, head back for another hour, so don't go away. Gene in Westminster is next. We got a couple lines open. Gene, what can I do for you?
All right, I've got a 2007 motorhome, a Class C motorhome. It's on a 2006 Ford E450 chassis.
Okay.
The Super Duty chassis with the V10. And when I hit a long uphill, and I've got to go full throttle for a while, I instead of getting outside air, well, it's still outside air. I get through my vents. What happens there is that I start getting heated air just as if the heater were on.
Yeah, you're losing enough vacuum to where the blend door is going back to its default mode, which means you're going to get all the hot air coming in is what's happening, I'm guessing.
That's exactly what's happening. Yep. How do I
you have to have somebody or yourself put a larger vacuum pod or vacuum storage device on, inside the engine compartment on the on the truck itself, so that you've got more vacuum storage. And they make, Napa sells them. They make, vacuum reservoirs where you just put it in line and it just stores up more vacuum.
Okay, that sounds very, very good. But you know what? I've been under the hood of that thing, and I can't find a vacuum reservoir.
Well, and it may not. Some are direct. If there's no reservoir, they maybe never put one in there. The advantage you have is you've got room even up underneath the dash, where if you had to put one underneath the dash, you could.
There is plenty of room. There's plenty of room to the side of the doghouse. I mean, there's all kinds of.
I'll tell you one that would work really well for what you're doing, and it's a specific application, not something that's going to be looked up for some universal thing. Buy about a 96 Jeep Cherokee vacuum canister. They used to put them up underneath the bumper of the Jeep Cherokees, and they used it to run all the four-wheel drive mechanisms on the Cherokee, and they had to have enough capacity because if the engine ran out of vacuum, it would come out of four-wheel drive. So what they did was they put a lot of storage. They put a really big storage canister up underneath the front bumper. So if you bought the same canister, it's just an in and out reservoir. It's all it is. You could put that underneath the dash of yours and probably fix that.
Okay, 06 Cherokee.
You use an 06 Cherokee vacuum canister. They store them, and Napa sells them. They're normally mounted up underneath the bumper, but it's a big round cylinder. Just mount it wherever you want.
That's a Cherokee, not a Grand Cherokee.
You got it. Just a regular little Cherokee.
Regular Cherokee.
And because they had the same issue.
My wife had one of those, and it got T-boned and was wrecked, and the whole front end was in fine shape, but it was totaled. I guess I should have.
Yeah, hindsight's 20/20. What do you do?
That's what it always
What are you going to do?
That's right.
Right,
but I think if you do that, that'll fix your problem.
All right, that sounds like a good idea. It'd be a cheap way to do it.
It would be really cheap, and those are pretty inexpensive. Again, Napa carries those.
Okay, super. Thank you.
All right, Gene, appreciate it very much. Let's go to Tom, who's next. Tom and Parker, what's going on, sir?
Oh, hi, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I'm looking at purchasing a slightly used Toyota Avalon. It's a 2013 with about 48,000 on it. And my question is what kind of expenses, if I do purchase this car, can I expect in the immediate?
Not many.
Yeah,
it's a great car.
Good car.
Yeah.
Really good car. I mean, in 2016, they're doing a complete redesign of the Avalon, but the 13 is still a pretty updated design. It's not the old design, so it's actually still a really good design. The 2013 model year is. I've done several reviews on the Avalon. In fact, if you go to YouTube and look at any of my reviews, I love the Avalon. I think it's one of the best cars out there, period.
I'll check that out. How is it for road noise as far as highway?
That one will be a little bit noisier than what the new models are coming out. 2015, it got a little better. They did more sound deadening. And from what I've read, 2016 is going to get even better. But the car you're looking at, you know what? If you buy it right, who cares?
Yeah.
That's the hard part, is buying that one right.
Yeah. What are they asking for the car?
It's actually 20.
Oh, that's not bad. It's a great buy.
It's a CarMax. It's
because that car new was in the high 30s, low 40s.
I know it's a step up from the Camry, right? So,
it's bigger than the Camry. Typically had more, functionality. It's essentially built on the same type of platform the ES Lexus is built on.
Oh wow!
So it's really, it's kind of one of those things where if a guy doesn't want to own a Lexus for whatever reason because you're worried about what your employees might think, you buy an Avalon instead because it's essentially the same car.
Yeah, that's great. Well, listen, that's good news, guys. Thanks very much.
Okay, appreciate it, Tom. I hate to use it that scenario that way, but
makes
I've
sense.
known guys that buy Avalons because they're worried that if they buy a Lexus, what everybody will think. So they buy an Avalon instead, even though it's got just about as many bells and whistles as the ES has, and it's virtually the same car. You buy the Avalon because it's slightly less money, not a ton. It's only about $5,000 or $7,000 less money, but it doesn't have the stigma that somebody buying and driving a Lexus has. So you buy the Avalon instead. Great car, by the way. Fantastic. One of my favorite cars, as you can tell.
But it's a little bit noisier than the
It's going to be a little noisier than the Lexus, although from what I understand, the 2016 model year, they're just getting ready to redo that car totally. And I think that they have, I should say, but it's just getting ready to launch. All that's going to be totally better in 2016. So, yeah, great
matter
car.
if the stereo's turned up anyway, right?
Sure.
So,
all right, so we got some email questions coming in. I'll answer some of those when I come back. We've got one more hour coming up. We'll talk more belts and hoses, and I will get to things you can tow with outside of a truck, okay? So I'll do that as soon as we come back. John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Still haven't had enough? Go to drive-radio.com. Email your questions and comments. Download previous programs and find lots of useful information, including your nearest Colorado Select Auto Care Center. That's drive-radio.com. Thanks for listening to Drive Radio, sponsored by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers on KLZ 560.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for the highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business, so Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
On the next Wake Up with Steve Curtis, my co-host Andy Pate and I will debate and analyze the latest news and politics. And as always, we look forward to you joining in the conversation. It all begins at 6 a.m. on the next Wake Up with Steve Curtis.
Wake up! John Rush here on the next Rush to Reason. We import a lot from China. Electronics, toys, and air pollution. Greg Bertelson, Director for Energy and Resource Policy at the National Association of Manufacturers, will join us to talk about this very important topic. We'll also have traffic and weather updates, of course, from Dan Muir, and we'll take all of your calls. That's the next Rush to Reason in the evening rush hour every weekday from 3 to 6 p.m. right here on KLZ 560.
Freedom, liberty, truth. KLZ AM 560, KLZ HD Denver.
Listen live at KLZ560radio.com.
KLZ 560.
USA Headline News, I'm Tammy Rose. At least 82 people were killed at a restaurant in central India on Saturday when a cooking gas cylinder exploded and triggered a second blast of mine detonators stored illegally nearby. The restaurant, located next to the main bus station, was crowded with people having breakfast when the blast occurred. Rescue workers extricated 82 bodies from under a huge heap of rubble. In London, tens of thousands of people are marching in support of Syrian refugees. They're asking the British government to do more to help. The march will start at Hyde Park and finish at Parliament Square. Last week, Prime Minister David Cameron announced Britain will resettle thousands more refugees. The father of a Minnesota family found dead in apparent murder-suicide was the one who shot and killed his 3 children, his wife, and then himself, according to a published report. Brian Short, the 45-year-old homeowner, grabbed a shotgun and stormed into the bedrooms of his 3 teenage children and killed them. You're listening to USA Headline News.
Bobby, you here again?
Yeah, my doctor told me to reduce stress at work, so I come to Buffalo Wild Wings to eat lunch and watch sports. I get to pick one of 7 entrees, like sandwiches and salads, plus one of 7 sides.
Well, I like sides.
It's so affordable I can finally take a vacation.
Where you gonna go?
Here, Tim, here.
Introducing the new B-Dubs Fast Break Lunch Menu, starting at a new low price. Dine in or order takeout weekdays between 11 and 2. Participation and availability may vary. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports.
Musicians, it's Yamaha Month at Guitar Center. Save up to 15% on select Yamaha guitars, basses, drums, keys, pro audio, and more. Deals like Yamaha HS Series studio monitors, buy one, get one half off. Save up to $200 on select Yamaha acoustic and electronic drum sets. Up to $500 off Yamaha synths. Or get up to a $50 gift card when you buy select Yamaha acoustic guitars. $50, $100, $200, up to $500 off select Yamaha gear. The best deals go first during Yamaha Month at Guitar Center. Don't miss it.
KLZ Denver.
John Rush during the afternoon rush, weekdays from 3 to 6 on KLZ 560.
Being an expert on general automotive knowledge, what would the correct ignition timing be on a 1955 Bel Air Chevrolet with a 327 cubic inch engine and a 4-barrel carburetor?
It is a trick question.
Watch this.
A Chevy didn't make a 327 in 55. The 327 didn't come out till 62. And it wasn't offered in the Bel Air with a 4-barrel carb till 64. However, in 1964, the correct ignition timing will be 4 degrees before top dead center.
Get ready for another hour of Drive Radio, brought to you by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Got a question for the experts? Then give them a call, 303-477-5600. Now it's time to pop the hood and get our hands dirty. Drive Radio on KLZ 560 The Source.
John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560. It is now 12:04 in the afternoon. So we're in the PM now of Saturday, and and I keep looking out the window, guys. I'm envious because it's just beautiful outside.
Just a great looking day.
It's gorgeous. So if you're outside roaming around, congratulations. It's a great day to be out and getting ready for the Bruce Lee El Nino that's on its way. Actually, I heard the other day called Godzilla El Nino.
Really?
That's what I heard. So got a big one coming, supposedly, big winner.
Oh, well, then I guess we ought to check our belts, make sure we don't need replacement.
And we'll talk about hoses in a moment, too, because hoses are another big deal. All right, let's go to Charles, who's up next. We got lines open, 303-477-5600. Charles, what's happening, sir?
Hi. Well, I'm kind of hitting the 20s mark and trying to figure out what I want to buy for my first car.
Good for you.
Thank you. So I've been shopping around. I'm pretty partial to Hondas because they're easy to maintain and they last for a good long while. I did notice though that like Scion TC is kind of similar of what I'm looking for, but they go. I've noticed that at least like the 07 Euro 6 years go for like considerably less than a Honda, like the Civic of that time period. And I was wondering why they would go that low. Are they higher maintenance? Do they just not last as long, or what would be the reason for that?
No, first of all, the TC start off fairly inexpensive. I mean, that's a car you're buying in the, even today, you can buy that car in the very low 20s for a brand new TC. And what years are you looking at now?
I was looking at, I think, 06 or 07.
Okay, so back then, that car was a $14,000, $15,000 car tops. So, if you look at what the car was new versus what it's selling for today, it's still the same relation as far as, how much less you're paying today versus what it was new, as would be a different Toyota, Honda, whatever. Just keep in mind, so here's the deal. The Scion or the TC is all Toyota. Okay, so nothing wrong with the car at all. It's a good, solid car. It does not have a lot of the creature comforts in it that you're going to find in a Toyota or a Honda. In other words, it didn't have the sound deadening inside of it to make the interior cab noise less. It just didn't have a lot of the other bells and whistles, audio systems, and so on that the other higher-end cars did. Even higher-end is not the right way to say that. Like cars in Toyota or Honda, or I can go down the list, Nissan and so on, the TC and that particular Scion brand was really targeted towards you as a first-time buyer, less expensive, still a good quality car, but the accessory side of the fence, was and still is a huge part of that particular market for that car.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
And so there's nothing wrong. I would never tell you not to buy a TC. The biggest thing on anything you're looking at buying used is get it checked out first.
Okay.
As long as you do that, you know what? And if everything checks out well, the TC is a fine car. Nothing wrong with it at all.
Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome, Charles. Glad you're listening. And it shows you that we even have some young listeners listening to Drive Radio. So, Charles, thank you for that. I mean that sincerely. I like having new drivers your age, listening to us. I hope that we're still, giving you the information that you need as a young driver as much as we are that person that may be in their 80s that's still driving that we talked to last week, and everybody in between. Because Drive Radio is all-encompassing of everybody out there driving. Right, guys?
Right, and I got a little young buddy, 3, Keegan. He listens, but he's playing with Tonka toys right now, but he listens occasionally.
I've got a lot of my son's friends. He's in his early 20s. They listen, just like Charles. A lot of them are listening. So all of you that are at that younger age, you may not call in that often. I do. I sincerely mean this. I appreciate you listening. You're the next generation. So you know what? We need to be talking to you as much as I am the older generation. So thank you very much for listening. David in Littleton, you're next, sir.
Hey, thank you. Always listen to the show. Always learn something. So thanks.
Thank you, David.
2007 Ford Explorer V8, all-wheel drive, of course. Just turned 60,000 miles. I took it to my corner oil change place, which is convenient. And I also said, does it need the diff and the transfer case? What mileage do those fluids need to be changed? And they said, well, they looked good when they checked them. So
it needs to change. If you have never done them, they're overdue.
Okay. Very good. And what should that cost? I mean,
oh gosh, it's going to vary. But if you do a complete fluid change, minus transmission, so if you do front and rear diff and transfer case, 300-ish, pretty easily.
Okay.
But it needs done.
I think that rear diff needs
synthetic.
Needs a special fluid in that one.
Needs synthetic.
Yeah.
I would put in this day and age. I'd put synthetic, even though it doesn't call for it. I'd put synthetic in all of them.
Okay, great.
And in Littleton, you're not far from Geno's. Just run it over to Geno's and have them do that for you. That way they can inspect everything and look at it at the same time. Steve, tell them where you're at.
Oh, we're at 3593 West Bowles. We're in between Freddo and Pike Canyon and Bowles.
You're not far. So great. I will get it in. Thanks.
All right. Appreciate it very much. And another Littleton caller. We got lines open, by the way, 303-477-5600. John, you're next.
Hey, thanks. So I'm right in the middle of that age group we were talking about, but I'm calling about my young daughter, who's got 3 kids, 2 and 2 not quite 1 yet. They're looking for another car. It's got to be able to fit 3 car seats. Is kind of their big challenge, and all the junk that goes with 3 kids of that age.
I've got a daughter in exactly the same boat that we. I'll tell you what we did with her. And first of all, let me ask you this: what are they looking for? Do they need 4-wheel drive? Do they need more room? Are they just looking to get car seats in? What all are they looking to do?
So they just need a car, I would say, on the low price end, or a low monthly payment. I'll put it that way, and something that'll fit the 3 car seats in the junk. And I think they don't need a big monster truck or anything, and they probably won't fit in an econo box.
Well, I'll tell you the best buys out there right now, and this is what I got my daughter to do. It took them a while for this to sink in, and it took me a little bit of convincing to get this done. They ended up saving up enough money, paid cash, bought a pretty used Suburban, but still in good shape. Actually came from a family member, but it was in really good shape. And here's the deal. You can buy used Suburbans that are, 10, 12 years old for $4,000 to $6,000.
Oh, really?
And have a really, really fantastic vehicle for somebody with 3 kids. Now, it's bigger. I realize that. It's a little bit tougher parking. But, if you buy an older one, they're going to have some dings and dents and scratches. So if you park it in a parking lot and somebody puts a door into it, it's not a huge issue. They're a really, really solid, reliable vehicle. And believe it or not, fuel mileage on them is anywhere from 18 to 20 in those models. If you buy one that's a 80, buy the newer body style, 2000 and newer. If you do that, you can still get 18 to 20 miles a gallon in it.
And you get protection for the kids.
What's the price range of like a 2000 Suburban?
Oh, depending upon what you find out there and how many miles are on it, anywhere from $6,000 to $10,000. Did I lose you, John? You still there?
New car.
Okay. Sorry, I lost you there for just 1 second. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So of course they said they want a shiny new car because they can afford the lease payments.
Right. The fleece payments.
Fleece.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I told them. I said it sounds good up front, but you're not clean people, and you're going to get busted on the back end of that car.
You will. And if you don't keep, and again, let me back up. Leasing is good for some people. Only some people. Typically, it's somebody that can actually write off the expense of that payment on a monthly basis. So business people, things along those lines, that side of the fence typically works out fairly well. And I do some leasing even on my end, but I'm a business owner. A regular, old, normal individual, unless you're a guy that can afford to buy a new car every 2 to 3 years, a lease is typically not a good deal for you.
And that's what I've been trying to tell them, because it looks very attractive up front.
Sure it does. And here's the other thing you typically don't want to do on a lease. You don't want a lease where you put money down or have residual costs at the end, and those are hard to find.
Right.
In other words, there's a lot of leases out there that look really, really good, but you're putting $3,500 down when you buy the car. Well, gosh, add another $3,500 of that and go pay cash for a car.
Right. And so you're thinking of 2000 model vehicle Suburbans are a good idea.
They're a fantastic.
How about something a little smaller? Is there anything a little smaller?
You could do a Yukon. I said Suburban. Sorry, what I really meant is you can do either Suburban or Yukon. Either one of those would work fine. Yeah.
Or Tahoe.
Tahoe. Escalades are going to be too much money, but you can do a stripped down Tahoe, Yukon XL, which is a Suburban. You get the drift.
Yeah, all that whole family. But something smaller, like whatever the GM smaller family is. Not so much, or minivan, not so much because of the price range.
You could do minivan. I mean, they're not bad. The difference between doing a minivan. Okay, so I'm just real quick. I just pulled up Craigslist. So just for grins, I pulled up a 2000 GMC Yukon, first one that came up. I'm not advertising for anybody, by the way, but 2000 GMC Yukon for sale, excellent condition, Longmont, $5,700.
Wow, that's not bad.
Okay, now no offense, you can't go buy a minivan for $5,700 that will have the life to it that 2000 GMC Yukon has.
Really? So the Yukon, that whole family's got a good life.
Because it's a truck.
Right.
Sorry, it's built on a truck frame, truck chassis. It's not unibody. I mean, the things are rugged as all get out, and they're easy to work on, and parts are still cheap for them. I mean, Steve knows he works on them all the time.
Yeah, I had one. I had an 01 GMC Yukon. Saddest thing I ever did was sell that thing.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, they're great.
All right, well,
I've had listeners, and some of them are out there right now listening to me, agreeing. I've had listeners that have asked about this that I've said, go buy the vehicle. I have not steered anybody wrong yet on that.
All right. Well, I will twist their arm in that direction.
I just found another one in Castle Rock for $4,300.
Oh, wow. That sounds pretty reasonable.
Now, some of them are going to have high miles, but if they're only planning on keeping this thing for the next, 4, 5, 6 years, I mean, no joke. Even if one of these has 170, 180,000 miles on it, it's a 300,000 plus mile vehicle. So who cares?
Are they really?
Yes.
Okay. If they've been taken care of, we should expect that out of them.
That's exactly right. Get it inspected first. Make sure it's in good shape. But you do that, you'll be in good shape.
And if I bring in like Totino's,
yep, they can go through it. Definitely.
The skill to take a look at it, say like, yes or no.
Yep.
Yes. Oh yeah.
And do that prior to purchase.
Yes.
Of course. Gino, what's that? So, Steve, what's that cost for?
Oh, it's $100 generally. Just rough numbers.
Okay.
But for most things,
yeah. And here's how that works. I did that enough years. Even if you have to go through 3 of those and you spend $300, you'll save enough buying the car you end up with to get your $300 back.
Right.
And
so you won't have all the maintenance.
That's right.
And generally, my guys are pretty good where they'll start looking at it. They see something that just is a big red flag. They'll just stop.
Right.
And they won't charge you the $100 and say, hey, this isn't right. We're just going to tell you not to get this. Save you the $100.
Yeah.
Go the 50 or 25 or something, just to.
But I'm looking all over Craigslist right now, which I'm not saying that's where you go, but I'm looking all over Craigslist, and literally there's a ton of them from anywhere from $4,500 to really, really super low mile clean ones at $7,500.
All right, so we can get a higher mileage one, 150, 175.
Still be fine.
And don't worry about it.
Wouldn't bother me a bit. I would buy that thing all day long.
Just put a new belt and tensioner on it.
There you go.
Two tensioners.
Okay.
There's AC
there's one I'm looking at on here right now that looks really, really clean. It's got 200,000 miles. It's a 2005, and it's $7,700.
Wow.
So those are good buys.
Well,
They're great vehicles.
I'll poke around.
Okay.
And again, thanks to Steve Genos. He helped us out, I don't know, about a month ago with a van they currently have. It's kind of a unfortunate circumstance. But he told us so I appreciate that.
Got it. Appreciate it, John. Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys have a great day.
You bet.
Thanks.
We'll do it. Take care. Let's do this real quick. We'll take a break. We'll come right back. Shane and Bob, don't go away. We're going to come right back. We'll be right with you. John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Isn't it ironic that in order to remove engine grease, you need plenty of elbow grease? Well, Napa has you, your engine and your elbows covered. Get Gunk Original Engine Degreaser for $2.99 and get a mail-in rebate good for the entire sale price. That makes it all practically free. The savings continue with the 5-quart Napa Conventional Oil Change Combo with the Napa Silver Oil Filter for $17.99 every day. Conquer the job and your questions with Napa Know-How.
Geno's Auto Service in Littleton is your go-to service shop for all your car care needs. Now, for a limited time, have lunch on Geno's. Mention this ad, and with any service work done over $50 on your vehicle, receive a gift certificate for lunch while supplies last. Remember, Geno's is AAA approved, has been in business since 1983, and offers courtesy vehicles while your car is being serviced. They are conveniently located at Bowles and Platte Canyon in Littleton. Have lunch on Geno's. Visit them online at genosautoservice.com.
At Arvada West Auto, we know that fluids are the life of your vehicle. They are also complicated, with all the different types, from motor oil to gear oils to coolant. The types of fluids, service procedures, and intervals can vary widely. Let us help you sort out what your vehicle needs and when it needs to be serviced. Stop in or call us at Arvada West Auto, 11752 West 64th Avenue, 303-422-1065. You can visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com.
This is Isaac Bouchard, Drive Radio sponsor. Since 1991, I've helped my clients save more than $1 million when buying or leasing a new or used car, truck, or SUV. I created my company, Bespoke Autos, to bring this level of service to a wider audience, just the kind of discerning individuals who tune into Drive Radio every week. We handle every unpleasant part of buying a vehicle. We take trade-ins, we can arrange financing, and with decades of experience, our team can truly custom tailor a vehicle to fit your needs. Find out more at denverautobrokers.org. That's denverautobrokers.org.
We breathe dirty air every day, and believe it or not, the air you breathe inside your vehicle can be even more polluted than the air outside. Thankfully, many of the vehicles sold today are equipped with a cabin air filter to help keep the air inside your car clean. If you are driving a car with a dirty or clogged cabin air filter, not only are you breathing dirty air, but it also puts a strain on your car's HVAC system, decreasing its performance and longevity. K&N, the inventor of washable automotive air filters, has applied its decades of high-flow, washable air filter design to cabin air filters for cars and trucks. These robust filters clean and freshen the air coming into your car's interior and are electrostatically charged to hold dust and dirt. They feature a pleated filter media that helps capture most mold, mildew, fungus, spores, bacteria, germs, pollen, and other allergens, while still allowing a high volume of airflow. They are strengthened by a custom design frame for a great fit and years of use. Best of all, K&N cabin air filters are washable and clean up easy with the K&N Refresher Cabin Air Filter Cleaning Kit. They typically only need cleaning every 12 to 15,000 miles or once a year, but you can wash them more often if you'd like, and K&N backs them up with a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. They come with easy-to-follow installation instructions so you can easily replace your old filter, usually in 5 to 10 minutes. Keep the air inside your car clean and fresh without continually burying and throwing away disposable.
10 seconds, guys.
Washable cabin air filter for your car or truck at knfilters.com. That's knfilters.com.
John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 561 line open. Got about a half an hour left of the show, just a tad over that. And it's a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Let's do this. Bob has a comment on that Suburban conversation we just had a moment ago. Bob, welcome to Drive Radio.
Morning, John. How are you?
Good, sir.
Good. Just, as somebody at the other end of the demographics who's sold hundreds of student cars over the years, I kind of had a couple of comments. On the first caller, one thing to remind them is the difference in insurance costs, particularly for males, between different vehicles. So when he's checking out the vehicle, he also needs to make sure he gets an insurance quote before he makes final decision, because sometimes there are significant differences.
And I'm not sure. I don't know on a TC. I don't know that car well. I don't know that end of it well enough to know on that end. But to your point, yeah, it'd be worth asking.
Would it be considered a sports car or something?
Yeah.
There can be significant differences. And going back to Suburban, a good friend of mine started Flight for Life. He was a trauma surgeon at St. Anthony.
Yeah.
And he had one daughter. When she turned 16, which was a long time ago, he put her in a Suburban. It was not her choice. The reason was he had spent his entire career at the emergency room at St. Anthony.
Yep.
And he had an opinion based on what he saw. And, the Suburban's a little bit bigger, but as far as, the safety issue, which you didn't get into, I mean, for somebody with 3 kids,
yep.
And as grandfather, at this point in my life, I want to, do everything I can to make sure that my grandkids are in a solid cocoon.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you're right. And that was part of the reasoning I had with my kids buying the family Suburban, or keep it in the family, or whatever you want to say. I mean, it's just, to your point, it's just a great, and I own, part of it for me personally is I own so many of them. We had kids growing up, and it just became a really great family vehicle for us. And I just never got steered wrong buying one. They were always great for us.
Well, I lived in the mountains full time for years, and we had 6 kids. So the only vehicle that we bought for years was a custom ordered Suburban with a bench front seat, so that we had 9 passengers.
Yep, that's exactly right. Yeah, we did that. And we actually, for a few years, when the 7.3s came out and the Excursions, I actually moved into the Excursion because they were just a little bit more roomy with all the kids. Plus, I liked the diesel aspect of it. But and I didn't think about that. That's the other one a guy could buy too, is a big Excursion. They're just, typically the Excursions bring more money because there's not as many of them around as there are Suburbans. The Suburbans, I mean, there's a gazillion of those things out there. They're easy to find.
Yeah, and the other thing, just a parting note, and I'll get off. I supply the Hinsdale School District, which is Lake City, with Suburbans, which they use exclusively as school buses because of that elevation and that market.
Got it.
They have made the decision, as have a couple other districts, just use Suburbans.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they work fantastic. Again, I don't think I'm too far off on my prices. I just keep looking as we've been talking here. And I mean, I'm finding really, really fairly low mile ones in the $7,000 range and some high mile ones in the $4,000 to $5,000 range. So you start looking at cars at that price, that's tough to beat, Bob.
It really is, with the combination, and people don't realize they actually get decent mileage.
They do. They do. That's the thing the tree huggers don't even understand. This thing will get 20 miles a gallon if you drive it right.
Exactly.
Yep. Good
All
point.
right, take care.
Thanks, Bob. Appreciate it very much. Let's go to Shane, who's up next, up in Boulder. Shane, welcome. What's going on?
Oh, I'm just not doing a whole lot. What are you up to?
We're doing okay. Talking to you. What's better than that?
Exactly. I got an 02 Ford Explorer Sport Track.
Okay.
It's giving me fits. It's got a 4-liter, and it has an engine miss at idle that I can't seem to get rid of. I did a tune-up on it, plugs and wires, the whole 9 yards, cleaned the mass airflow sensor. What else? I don't remember what else. But
is that the one that has a plastic intake?
Yes.
It's probably
it doesn't have any vacuum leaks. I sprayed.
You knew where we were going, didn't you?
Well, and the only problem with checking that on the top side is it could be leaking on the bottom side, and there's no way to check that from the top.
That's true. What if you sprayed some carb clean down in the PCV?
You could try. The best way actually to check those is propane.
Propane,
not brake clean, because you can get the propane directed a little bit more precisely. Plus, it'll suck that in a little easier. And it's really not as dangerous as you think. Just get a propane can with a hose on the end of it and open it up a tad and just see if the idle raises. And you know how to do that. I mean, you're already doing that, so that's a good way to check. Now, not saying that's it, but that's a common problem on those vehicles.
Or if you have ability to get to a smoke machine.
That's true too. That works.
Smoke machine is what our preferred way.
It's less dangerous.
Yeah. But they've been using propane for, we used it for carburetors.
We use it forever. Yeah. And that's where a lot of the old guys still go back to propane, just because it's real quick and easy, and off you go. Piece of cake.
Yeah. Even use one of those little propane tanks or propane bottles.
Exactly.
That's
all you have to do. It's real simple. Just don't light it. I mean, it's and you could, even on that, you could put a hose over the end of that.
Then I wouldn't have to deal with that problem anymore.
That's true. You got a point.
There's been a few cars I thought about that.
I saw one on the way home last night. I'm driving down 270, and over on the other side of the freeway, looked like a Toyota Previa. That baby was about burnt to the ground. Tires melted off. Somebody did the right thing and actually let it burn, then walked away before they called the fire department, because that thing you would not want back.
He wasn't coming from full throttle, was he?
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, I mean, back to your point. It could be that. Does it feel electrical or does it feel fuel, or can you tell?
You can't really tell. Sometimes it recovers from it. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it just stalls out, especially when it's hot and it's in gear. You stop at a stoplight and sometimes it'll just die, starts right back up.
When's the last time the top end's been cleaned?
That's a good point too.
Yeah,
probably never.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Yeah, that's worth looking at also. I'm with Steve. I think the first thing I would do is really make sure that plenum is good and sealed and you don't have any issues there. Outside of that, have you had a scan tool or anything on it where you can actually see what's happening when it dies? You can look at some of the inputs?
Yeah, I have. Well, not when it dies, no. But, I mean, I borrowed one from my neighbor across the street, and he, everything looked pretty good.
Okay.
I mean, it didn't... Nothing was really, when it was idling like crap, and everything seemed to be all right. But it's just a random, it throws up codes random misfire.
Oh, does it?
And then, the first 1,000 RPM, which...
I'd be looking at the intake still.
Yeah. What kind of plugs did you put in there by chance?
I didn't use the Motorcraft. I think I used Autolites.
Autolight's fine.
Autolight's okay.
Motorcraft, Autolite, same thing. As long as you're doing that, you're fine.
I was afraid you put some off-brand or something in there.
That doesn't work well. Yeah, we try, and this is for everybody else listening, we try in this day and age, even as repair shops, to use the brand of plug the car came with. So as long as it, in your case, Motorcraft, Autolite, that's fine. Either one of those are going to be fine. Just don't go put, ACs or Champions or Nippendenzos or something like that in it.
Gosh.
But yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And I did also made sure that, it wasn't a bad coil, because I've heard that they've had a lot of bad coils with those, and it's got good spark down to the plug.
Good.
So
yeah, I'd make, again, random misfire, getting the code you're getting, it's more than likely fuel or vacuum leak related, and you could have an injector that's also not firing like it's supposed to too. So I'd go through each one of those, but I think I would rule out intake first before I did anything else.
What would be the easiest way to check those injectors to make sure they're all good? I mean, you really need the right scan tool that can shut them off and turn them back on to really inspect what they're doing. Yeah.
That's really the only way to check them without pulling them out.
Have you checked fuel pressure by chance?
Yeah, it's actually it's a little on the high side, but it's not. I mean, I don't remember what. I think it's like 42 to 60, and it's like 61 or 62.
Yeah, it's not anything. That's fine.
I was just concerned if it was fuel pressure regulator or something, get a little extra fuel in there somehow. But yeah, all those are kind of things. It's possible.
To Steve's point, every one of those has to be looked at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a group.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it, Shane. Appreciate the phone call very much. Let's do this. Let's go to Jeff, and we'll take a break right after this. Jeff, you're up next.
Hey, Mr. John, how are you?
We're doing great. Thanks for calling, sir.
Love your guys' show.
Thank you.
Listen, I got a question about my mom's got a 95 Yukon.
Okay.
And the 241C transfer case, it's that C-clip on the back output shaft.
Yep.
Came apart.
Okay.
And she drove it for a while, and it made noise for, I don't know, probably about 2 miles, and she'd get that grinding noise. And I changed it, and I put the bigger C-clip on it from A1 Transmission and Parts.
Got it.
Is there anything I need to worry about after that? It did have some shavings when I drained it the first time. Should I drain it again?
It wouldn't hurt.
Okay.
Just make sure you get and the magnet and stuff is still in there, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just make sure I would drain it again just for grins and get as much of that back out as you can. Fluid's cheap, so put some new fluid. Flush it, put some new fluid in it. I wouldn't worry about it after that. They're pretty tough.
Are they? Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's all I needed.
Okay.
Actually, I got one more question.
Yeah.
When it comes to the emission side.
Yes.
Hey, will they fill you for a cracked windshield?
I don't think they will. No.
No,
I don't believe so.
It's not really in the driver's sight, but I don't know what side
no,
they
they typically won't. They will fail you for other safety type things, but it's typically more related to, does the driver's window roll up and down? Does the shift indicator work properly? Things like that. I've never seen one get failed for a windshield.
Okay. Awesome.
Unless
Thanks, John. I appreciate it.
No, you're very welcome. Appreciate it so much. Thanks for the phone call. Wayne, hang tight, and Greeley, we're going to be right back to you. Don't go away. We got a couple of lines open, 303-477-5600. We'll be right back right here, KLZ 560.
At Napa Auto Parts, we've been the most trusted name in auto parts for over 80 years. Probably because we've never stopped looking for ways to make the great parts we sell even better. It's a commitment to quality you'll find in every one of our 310,000 parts. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters, to the patented damping mechanism on our drive-align belt tensioners, to our revolutionary new Adaptive One brakes. And Napa parts are covered by a warranty that's good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores nationwide. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but at Napa, we've spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. To find the Napa Auto Parts store nearest you, go to NapaOnline.com. Napa, get the good stuff.
With over 125 locations in Colorado, southern Wyoming, and western Nebraska, there's only one place to get the good stuff. Napa Auto Parts.
Top auto manufacturers admit that today's high-tech engines on average can use a quart of oil every 1,000 miles. Why? To meet the government's fuel economy mandates, they use the faster-moving low-tension piston rings that can clog quickly, reducing power, causing poor fuel economy. The Performance Oil Service from BG Products cleans piston rings and restores the fuel system. And it's backed up with lifetime protection for the engine. Ask your service advisor about the BG Performance Oil Service or go to bgfindashop.com. That's bgfindashop.com.
BG. This is Red Merrill for Phoenix Weaponry. Phoenix Weaponry is a weapon manufacturer that services the firearm enthusiast. From precision ARs to suppressors, Phoenix Weaponry can make your dreams come true. Phoenix Weaponry is a full-service gun shop that offers gunsmithing, coating, and modifications to your own weapon. Phoenix Weaponry, family-owned and operated right here in Colorado. If you can dream it, Phoenix Weaponry can build it. Call today, 720-340-2496. Again, that's 720-340-2496. Or visit their website, phoenixweaponry.com. Mention Sportsman of Colorado and receive 10% off your custom-built weapon.
John Rush, I want to talk to you about Lone Tree Veterinarian Medical Center. Their motto, we believe that all pets deserve to have a good life. They do complete pet care services every day, all at one location. In other words, they are open every single day of the week. That includes the holidays. Their normal office hours are Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And last week we learned that they do grooming, okay, of cats or dogs. They will groom them. They've got a full grooming center on site. I've been there. I've seen it. Again, this is a fantastic facility with you, not only you, the customer, in mind, but also your pet, who really ultimately is their customer. They have your pet in mind. Preventative care and illness, advanced dentistry, a complete diagnostics lab, digital x-rays, ultrasounds, you name it, they've got it, including swim therapy in case your dog or cat, cats don't swim typically, but in case your dog needs some therapy, they can actually take care of that also. The phone number is 303-708.
10 seconds, guys.
Lone Tree Veterinarian Medical Center. Be sure you tell them that John Rush from Drive Radio sent you. John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560. A couple of segments left of Drive Radio is it, and then we're out of here. So if you got a question, please call us now, 303-477-5600. Wayne and Greeley, you are next.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
It's a beautiful Saturday morning.
Yes, it is.
Hey, I just want to tell you up front, John, I'm one of those 80-year-olds that's driving around
That's
that you
awesome.
just mentioned a while ago.
You're a good man.
Anyway, I had a couple questions. As you know, I bought a new Colorado, and I love the truck, but I have a couple things that bug me on it. And one of them is the belts, the serpentine belt.
Okay.
This thing will make different noises all day long. It sounds like we thought at one time, I called you about it. I thought at one time it might have gotten a little oil drip on it from some stuff that was going on, but I'm not sure that happened. But it's been noisy since day one, since it had 2 miles on it.
Have they replaced that yet?
No, you guys are my backup for these darn dealers. I'm sorry. But you try to get them to do something, it's like pulling teeth.
And they need to do it. I mean, at this point, if the belt's noisy, and Alan can vouch for this, I mean, they're buying belts from Gates or Goodyear or somebody. They're not making their own. And, our belt guy sitting right here will tell you that, Alan, there's no way to quiet a squeaky belt, is there, Alan?
Well, I can put oil on it, but it's not good for the belt. But no, there's another issue going on. Now, had some contamination gotten into the belt, that could...
Well, it could be, that it got contaminated somewhere, maybe from the factory or something. I don't know. I never did see anything on it. But and I did approach the dealer about this, and they were talking about weather and different things. This thing doesn't have a shaft-driven fan, and it's a V6. It should be running pretty darn quiet.
Yep, it should be. You shouldn't hear it at all. And the bottom line for the dealer is, I don't care what it's been through. If it's making noise, put a stinking belt on it.
Well, yeah. So that's what I wanted to ask primarily, I guess, was if these new belts are supposed to be, a little. This thing, it doesn't squeak, but it has like a dry sound.
You shouldn't hear anything out of it at all.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, no, you should not. Trust me, Wayne. I've got enough old vehicles, new vehicles, the new belt technology, period. You shouldn't hear anything.
Okay, thank you. That's what I need to know. Also, they told me that I can't take my engine cover off because the PCV is under there and it's using that as a dead spot for air or something. Does that make any sense to you guys?
I'm calling the BS card on that one.
Well, that's what I asked him to take. He says, well, why do you want to take it off? I says, because I want to see my engine.
Yeah, I'm calling the BS card on that one. That is aesthetics. That's all it is. It has nothing to do with what's going on inside the engine. Zero.
Well, the PCV, you can see it does go in at the edge of that engine cover on the passenger side.
But it's not. It is that cover has nothing to do with how it's functioning.
I'll pull it off myself then.
Yeah, it's not going to hurt anything.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to get off.
The biggest thing that the one advantage the covers do have, and I will say this: so the one advantage the covers are giving you in today's newer cars are protection from some of the elements that can get inside the engine compartment. So water, that sort of stuff, and in a lot of the electrical components, we do want to keep as dry as possible. So in that regard, the engine covers do help.
Okay, well, that's fine. I wasn't planning on leaving it off, but my gosh, I got a brand new vehicle. I can't see the engine.
Yeah, no, you can pull it off. Doesn't matter.
I guess that's a car nut for you, though.
That's right. That's all right. That's a guy that used to own some of the old great cars of the day. That's all.
Well, anyway, thank you, John.
You betcha, Wayne.
Appreciate talking to you guys as always.
Likewise, Wayne. You're a good man. I appreciate it very much. Let's go to Chris, who's up next. Chris, welcome, sir.
Howdy.
How we doing?
I'm well. How are you?
We're doing great. What can we do for you, Chris?
01 Saturn V6 timing belt intervals.
What year is it?
01
Saturn V6.
I bet you that's 60.
I was going to say 60.
I'm just guessing, but we can find out here real quick.
Well, if you got time, great. It's got 80 on it. I'm nervous. That's why I called.
We got our book right here.
It's an early one.
Sorry, I had to go to the file cabinet here. Hang on a minute.
Oh, that happens to be a Gates Napa belt and hose.
What do you know? I think this is one you gave me.
Who did he get that from?
Where did I find this?
Yeah. Who did he get that from?
This is actually usually faster doing it this way than going on the internet. So give me just 1 second.
Yeah, he's
here.
checking it right now.
It is a.
Let's see. What do we get if we guess that right, Steve?
So it's a 2001. 100K is what this says.
Oh my gosh! Well, I'm gonna.
Second question. I've got a little bitty wrench that says service. The light's on.
Yes.
I got a brake light not coming on. Is that related to the brake light switch?
Could very well be. Yes.
What's that light designate?
That you need service done in a particular system on the car.
It's not an SCS light. It has SCS. Is that body control module fault light? Is that what it is?
Could possibly, yes. Yeah, probably is. Yes. Now that you say that, I'm trying to picture in my head with that symbol, but I think I'm picturing it. Yes, that would typically that's got something to do with, body control module. And really saying is that the brake light switch is out. It's saying, wait a minute, time out. I can't activate the things I need to, so we need to get that fixed.
Yeah, secondary symptom is no cruise control function, but I'll bet you that's all related.
That's exactly right.
The other thing on the timing belt, though, it is a 10-year deal, too, though, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. That's why I'm nervous. It belongs to somebody, and the car's so nice. I hate to see him bend valves.
It needs done.
Yeah.
Is there any weak spots on that motor head gasket, anything like that?
Not really.
No, I don't remember. That's a pretty good engine.
Yeah, good engine.
Cool. I like that engine. It does take a special tool to do that timing belt, if I remember right.
Tough job?
No, but I remember having to buy the tool. That's why.
That's why you remember.
When I had to buy something special, I remember those things.
Can you give me a psychic reading on price of you guys doing it?
Yeah. That one I don't know, Steve. You'd have to do that. I have no idea.
No, I wouldn't know off the top of my head. But you're more than welcome to call me. I'll look it up for you on Monday.
I'll work through it. Thank you for your time.
You're very welcome. Appreciate the phone call. Let's go to Bernard, who's next. Bernard, welcome. What's going on, sir?
Good afternoon. I called last week on a 2-post Challenger.
Yes. Oh.
Right. And you mentioned isometric, that no on the isometric.
Correct.
Now, is that referred to the jack system or the legs, or what?
That has to do with the arms. So what they do is they tilt the main posts, away toward. Let me make sure I say this right. So they tilt the post towards the rear of the vehicle, thereby kicking the arms towards the back side of the vehicle, which means you don't have to pull the car on to the rack as far to get it raised up. That's what isometric is.
Okay.
What it does, it enables you to really open the door of the vehicle all the way without having it hit the post. And some of that was an advantage to guys that were actually trying to work on the vehicle, the interior cab, but still had to get the vehicle raised up and down. And for lighter weight vehicles, it's fine. But for the heavy vehicles that you're going to be doing, you need a regular 2-post rack.
Okay. Now, I've got this, I've got it on my iPad, the site on the Challengers, and they're using 2 words that you didn't use. You said no to the isometric, and but they're calling one system as VERS, versametric, and the other one is what do they call it? Symmetric.
So yeah, exactly. So symmetric is what you want. You want a symmetrical lift. What that means is it's going to be centered up on the vehicle. That's what you want. So which lift are you looking at? I'm on their website right now.
Okay, I'm looking at all of them really. Which website? I'm on the Challenger 2-post.
Are you looking at an E10, E12?
Yeah, an E10.
An E10, okay. Let me look real quick here for you, and I'll tell you. That is a standard lift. That'll work fine.
Okay.
That's a good lift.
Yep, and I own a 15,000 pound of that very lift. It's a good lift.
Excellent. All right. Hey, thanks, guys.
You're very welcome, Bernard. Appreciate that. And Bernard has the fortunate ability to actually put that inside of his new garage he built. Yep. I'm envious.
Oh, yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, it's nice. It would be nice to have a lift at home.
If I had a garage that big to hold a lift, I'd have a Hellcat.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to get to drive one of those this week. Challenger Hellcat.
I'm going with you.
It's going to be fun. I'm going to enjoy it.
Oh, yes.
So we got, I should promo that. We're going to have a really great trip coming up this week. Rocky Mountain Automotive Press Association, which I'm a part of. We'll drive a lot of different vehicles over the course of 2 days. I'm doing that Wednesday and Thursday, so it'll be a lot of fun. I'll give you a report on that this coming Saturday as to how all that worked out. Also, I talked about last week, I went to an event, the new RX, Lexus is out. I put some pictures and such up on my Facebook page, up on the Drive Radio Facebook page, and I'll tell you right now, fantastic vehicle. Enjoyed it, loved it. Only downside I'm going to say about the RX, the new RX, is I think style-wise, it's going to appeal where typically the RX has always appealed to the ladies' side of the fence a little more than the man's side. I'm thinking the new one's going to reverse that, which was intentional on Lexus's part. They're trying to go after more of the masculine, quote-unquote, side of the fence with that car, and they're going to accomplish that because it's got a lot more lines to it. Typically it's been a real rounded type of a vehicle. It's got a lot of really cool lines in it now. It makes it look really, really aggressive. I would venture to guess that more men are going to buy that car than have in the past, which was their idea.
You got me picturing the concept 2015 T-Birds, what you got me picturing in my mind right now.
2015 T, I haven't seen that.
Just a concept car. I mean, just doing a little research.
Well,
so that's what it made me think of for some reason.
When I come back, I'm going to tell you about the car let me do this right now before we even take a break. We're not going to get to all of these today, so I might as well just get it up here right now.
He's going to tell us one more towing, right?
2015 Subaru Outback.
Oh,
that's a no.
No. What do you, wait.
3,000 pounds it'll tow, it's saying.
Okay, well, you can put like a rack up on the top and put some skis on it,
Yeah,
but I can't see it pulling a trailer.
Yeah, no, sorry, guys.
camper.
And I'm sorry, Subaru, if that offends. 2015 Porsche Panamera, 4,850 pounds of towing. If I owned a Porsche Panamera, I'm staying in a hotel.
Yeah, yeah.
Getting another car to tow.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry.
That on a trailer.
Sorry, that car I'm not towing with. Let me see what else. Cadillac SRX, another car I wouldn't tow with. And so far, I wouldn't agree with any of these. A Volkswagen, what is this? Tiguan, another small car I wouldn't tow with. Man alive. I don't know who wrote this thing, but Dodge Journey.
Well,
there you go.
Yeah, no, that I can see it pulling the bike. Yeah, I can see it pulling the bike.
It can haul 2,500 pounds, it says.
It'll haul the bike.
A Volvo S60.
I don't know about that one.
3,300 pounds is what it says. The Subaru Legacy, another Subaru made the list. Legacy, 2,700 pounds.
That's how much catalogs and samples I carry.
Yeah, I was gonna say
2015 BMW 5 Series Gran Turismo. Another car I wouldn't tow with. That was it. So out of all of that, there was one.
Yeah.
The first one.
The first one.
That was it. Which was the Traverse. That's the only one I would tow with out of that entire list. All right. We'll be right back. Don't go away. I'm going to give everybody the list of top tier fuel places to actually fill up, gas stations, I should say, when we come back. Don't go away. Drive Radio's up next. KLZ 560.
You work hard for your customers, and so do your vehicles. At Tilden Total Car Care, we understand how important your vehicles are to your business. At Tilden Total Car Care, we specialize in fleet maintenance. We'll keep your vehicles running their best because we know that if your vehicles aren't running, your business isn't running. Our fleet maintenance service will ensure that your vehicles are maintained according to the manufacturer's specifications, with the proper maintenance performed at the proper time. The proper service intervals ensure that your maintenance costs are kept low, your vehicles kept running right, and your customers kept happy. Let us show you how to minimize downtime and maintenance costs while extending the life, value, and productivity of your vehicles. Call Tilden at 303-797-7977, 303-797-7977, and let us show you how fleet maintenance is done. Tilden Total Car Care, your fleet maintenance partner, helping as many people as we can, as fast as we can.
How stressful. You hear a noise, see a fluid leak, feel something funny, a little light comes on your dash, or your car totally breaks down, and you have no idea what it means, what to do, or how to fix it. With how much we depend on our cars to go about our daily lives, you'd think they'd teach us this stuff in school. Luckily for you, you have us. At Community Auto, we're serious about what we do, and we're darn good at it. Having served Fort Collins and Northern Colorado for over 20 years, our family-owned and operated AAA-approved shop has family that extends far beyond our garage doors.
At Community Auto, we put the emphasis on care, not just auto repair. Ladies, ever felt intimidated going into an auto repair shop? Scared you'll be taken advantage of? Our female staff is friendly, knowledgeable, and will thoroughly explain and educate you on what's going on with your car. You'll be in the know and in turn be taken care of. Because at Community Auto, we know that a happy car will get you far.
We've all been there. You run to the hood and suddenly realize you don't have the parts you need. Or even worse, you don't know what parts you need. Well, at Napa Auto Parts, we have ASE certified parts specialists that'll make sure you find that right part. One covered by a warranty good at any one of 6,000 Napa locations. Yeah, finding the right part might not be easy, but fortunately, finding the right part store is. Go to NapaOnline.com for the location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
Have you ever been ripped off by an auto shop? Chances are you have at least felt like you were, and as a technician myself, I get it. So how do you know who to trust? The answer is to always choose a Colorado Select Auto Care Center. Colorado Select is a hand-picked group of independent shops who all adhere to the highest standards of customer service. They use ASE-certified master technicians who all offer at least a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on repairs, far exceeding most dealerships. Find a shop nearest you at coloradoselect.com. In Inglewood, trust Tilden Total Car Care, just north of Bellevue on South Federal, where life is about helping as many people as you can, as fast as you can. Call 303-797-7977.
If you ever want to see all the oxygen leave the room, tell somebody their transmission is bad. Transmissions are the repair most drivers fear most because they are the most misunderstood. Nobody understands transmissions better than Larry's Automotive and Transmission. They are the driveline pros, and they can take the fear and mystery out of transmission repair. Transmissions don't just go bad overnight. There are warning signs. Difficulty shifting or hesitation, for instance. Ignore those signs and you'll be looking at a big, scary estimate. Take it to Larry's at the first sign that something is wrong, and your repairs will most likely be minor. The only way to know for sure is to call Larry's Automotive and Transmission right away at 303-427-2108. 303-427-2108. They are ATRA certified, ASE Master certified, and A+ with the BBB.
10 seconds, guys.
The Driveline Pros, recommended by John Rush.
John Rush Drive Radio, KLZ 560. We got lines open. We got about 6 minutes left of the show. Feel free to call in. We can get 1 or 2 calls in, 303-477-5600. And don't forget, when it comes, we've talked a lot today about even new cars, used cars, things along those lines. If you ever want to know about any of the vehicles that we drive on a regular basis, just go check out our YouTube channel. It's Drive Radio. Sorry, youtube.com/Drive Radio. So Drive Radio, all one word, that's our YouTube channel. Easy enough. And that's actually on our website. Even though it's getting redone, I've put that up on the front page of our website. You can actually check out the link and look at all the different cars we're driving, which this week we happen to have a Dodge. Let's see. I want to say Dodge. That's not the right way. It's a Ram.
Okay.
I know it's Dodge, but it's really not. It's a Ram 1500 Eco Diesel. It's the Longhorn edition, which is really, really a nice truck. And so far in that truck, we're averaging 26.5 miles to the gallon.
Wow.
With a diesel.
Did it take you a long time to go from Datsun to Nissan?
Yes. It's going to take me forever to go from Dodge to Ram. Come on.
Don't do that to me anymore.
It's like, come on, guys. It's still a Dodge truck. But I know it's not. I know it's a Ram truck. But
that's pretty good. 28 miles a gallon.
That's good. And again, truck runs well, works well. I love all the new pickups, but the new Dodge pickups especially. I love the way the cab is designed and the interior. And this particular truck's got all the bells and whistles. I love their Uconnect system. Everything about the truck I like. I've always been a GM guy growing up. In fact, I still own a Duramax personally, but man, I love the new Dodges. They just are a great truck. So
they still got a little saddle thing on in the bed that you can stash things at a little door.
Yes.
And that's a neat little device.
They've done a lot of just little things that the other manufacturers don't do. For example, Dodge has where when you flip the seat up, they've actually got a little fold down tray where you can actually make everything flat behind the seat. So when the seat's folded up and you want to lay stuff back there, it's on a nice flat surface. And it's like, why can't the rest of you guys do this? It doesn't cost them, $100 to put that thing in. And it's just a cool little feature that it's got. Now, that's not in the mega cab trucks. That's just in their standard crew cab trucks. But it's like, man, why can't the rest of you guys do this?
They can, I guess, but
just they don't.
They don't.
But Dodge has always been fairly innovative as far as things like that.
I think they have too. I think they have too.
Didn't Chrysler come out with the first rear view mirror? So
did they?
I don't know. It's a question maybe for next week or something.
Who invented the first rear view mirror?
Just a thought.
Not a bad idea. All right, I think we got one more call coming in that we'll get to. Thorne is up next. Thorne, welcome. What's going on, sir?
Hello, John Rush.
Hey,
Good to
man,
talk
what's
to you
happening?
again. Well, I heard you saying that you're going to take out a Challenger Hellcat
this week.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you, you know that I'm a lawyer. You're going to need to have a lawyer on board so that when law enforcement takes you into custody, you have somebody that can return the car. And I just need to know when and where you need me to meet you.
I will send you an email. How's that sound?
Okay, I want that right, and I've already cleared my calendar
That's
for
awesome.
Wednesday and Thursday both.
That's awesome. Hey, I need to get you back on our daily show too. We'll talk about some oil and some gas prices and all that, because I am still guessing that by the end of the year we'll have prices way down.
Oh yeah, and there's a lot of other stuff going on, but just keep me in mind. I
will.
Need to know where to meet you.
I'll do it
on Wednesday or Thursday for that.
I'll do
escort.
it. You're a good
All right.
man, Thorne. I appreciate it.
Just thinking of you, John.
All right. Hey, appreciate it very much. That was Stanley Thorne. He's on my weekday show from time to time, and oil expert. He's an oil attorney in the oil and gas business. So speaking of the top tier stations in Colorado, Conoco, Costco, Diamond Shamrock, Phillips 66, Shell, Sinclair, Suncor, and lastly, Valero. Those are the top tier stations in Colorado, which we highly, highly, highly recommend. In fact, when it comes now on gasoline, I would not use anybody else's fuel besides that.
Mm-hmm. Especially now the cars with the direct injections and stuff makes quite a bit of difference in how they run.
Yep. No, you're dead on. I wouldn't use anything other than that. Now, if you find yourself in a pinch and you've got to use some of the other fuels, that's fine. Just make sure that a couple times a year you're using 44K, BG 44K to do some injection cleaning and get things cleaned out inside the engine. And again, BG, one of our great new sponsors to Drive Radio. I really, really do appreciate them. So let me do this before we get out of here. All of our sponsors on Drive Radio, I appreciate every single one of them. If you want to know who they are, visit drive-radio.com. We've got a lot listed on there. Everybody from Phoenix Weaponry up in Longmont to our vet clinic down south to everybody in between. We can help you out with buying a car, insuring the car, selling the car, cleaning the car, fixing the car, you name it. All we're missing is the body collision side of the fence, which I'm going to keep working on.
And glass.
And the glass side. I know, I'm working on that.
I need glass.
I'm working on that hard. Trust me. Up next is Sportsman of Colorado. I believe it is actually a repeat show because I think Scott's out hunting today. So he tried to get me to hang around today and do some more Drive Radio into Sportsman of Colorado. But frankly, I just have a ton going on this weekend that I need to get out of here and get going. So I apologize. We will not be hanging around the next hour, but listen up to Sportsman of Colorado anyway. So guys, did I miss anything on the belts and hoses? We didn't say about checking hoses. How do you do that?
Well, basically, we want to inspect them. You're looking for swelling, if you will, and softness, too hard, brittle. Get 60, 70, 80,000. Dump them, especially now. We didn't get a chance to talk about flushing, but this is a good time to flush. Wouldn't you say, Steve?
Yes.
A correct flush of the cooling system. While you're in getting that done, Geno's will certainly inspect those hoses. Yep. That's just part of the procedure.
And to your point, Alan, we had a good friend of ours that we did a little work on the other day. Son and I did, and we had put a thermostat on it. Hose and everything looked fine, so we didn't change it. Put the thermostat on. Week and a half later, top hose starts leaking around the clamp, just from dinking around with it a little bit, and it was just old enough that it looked good, felt good, but we had to put a hose on it to get it totally fixed.
Little different from when we were growing up.
That's right.
We got high temperature underneath the hood for emissions, and so that does have a tendency to deteriorate rubber.
That's exactly right. All right, guys, with that, we're out of here. Alan, thanks for coming in and joining us. Steve Horvath from Geno's, appreciate it very much. Go check out Steve in Littleton. Larry Unger on the other side of the glass. And Mindy, thank you guys so much. You can see Larry at Larry's Automotive and Transmission, which I sent a couple of guys there already via email today. So with that, I'm out of here. I will see you back here Monday for Rush to Reason at 3 o'clock. Have a great, blessed weekend. Be safe. John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Still haven't had enough? Go to drive-radio.com. Email